All right, welcome back to the Bit by Bit episode 4. This is. I know y'all been fiending for that in the comments. We had some little difficulties traveling, scheduling and all that, but we back to make that happen.
Hey, bro,
But
call it a difficulty. We was living our life. Hey, the difficulty in your life was lit.
hey, you gotta make excuses so they don't get on you. But yeah, some difficulties we had. But I'll get into the price. So the price today is 102,000. And y'all want to introduce
102.
yourselves, reintroduce.
I'm Chris. That's Ace.
I'm Ace.
Episode 4.
Episode 4. Let's get it, man. Let's give these people what they want.
Yeah, set us off, OJ. Where we going
All
first?
right. So I guess we'll start off with our first difficulty, which was the Dubai trip. We was enjoying ourselves, doing our thing out there, but I will say that Dubai, I've always heard like hella things about Dubai. Like you always hear it's safe, it's like their technology is way advanced in other countries and cities, and I took everybody's word for it because when you're traveling, you hear what people are saying, but you got to take it with a grain of salt until you go there yourself. So when I touched down there, I was like overly impressed about everything I seen there. Like I think Dubai looks way better and is way better than what people tell you it is. Like they say it's X, Y, and Z, but it looks better in real life. Is that what you got from
Or
it?
what happens is when people tell you or show you Dubai, you get like the little influencer version of Dubai from the internet. But when you get out there, you see like the everyday life and you're like, oh, it's really this nice. Like, wait, but I knew we was about to have a good trip, so we went out there for our boy Vic's birthday. I knew we was about to have a good trip. Hey, hey, yo, hey, check this out. So I got there and I'm waiting for everybody to get there, right? And OJ texted me, he said, hey, bro, I'm the flyest nigga at the Frankfurt airport. I said, yo, what? Imagine you just waking up like, I gotta go catch a flight real quick. And dude at the airport sizing you up, like, hey, yeah, this nigga got no trip. Yeah, as soon as he said that, I'm the flyest nigga at the Frankfurt airport, I said, oh yeah, this is about to be a fun trip.
Nah, but look though, like think about it. You going to Dubai, 16-hour flight. You gonna hand pick your piece, like, cause when I was my
I said, what
airport,
shit,
yeah,
bro?
my airport fit. Like I'm like, yeah, let me hand pick this, cause I need to arrive in style to just set the tone. So that's what I was thinking. But nah, I
Nah,
knew
that's
that.
the same stuff because everybody else gonna travel on comfort, bro. They're gonna put on some sweatpants or
Mhm.
like a hoodie, bro. Early in the morning, talk about how fly he was. I said, "Yeah, it's about to be a good trip.
Wait,
It's about
what time was it there when I
I
had
don't
said
even
it?
remember, bro. I just remember like looking at my phone. I said, "Yo, bro, need to go to therapy for this." Hey, bro, need to go to therapy. Oh
What
yeah, hey.
was What was to you, what was like the dopest part of Dubai, like just being there? What was to you?
I think it's the it's kind of like the whole like not having to look over your shoulder all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I feel like that was cool. Getting a trip out of the group chat was dope because I mean me and you traveled before. We traveled before with Lido too, but like to have Vic there, that was dope. To see Vic have all his friends because it was his birthday, so for 20 people to show up and support Vic on his birthday, that's dope because we know what Vic do and how he bring everybody together and stuff.
Yeah.
So just to see like, my boy have fun and then to travel and then like yeah, just go somewhere new, man. I ain't been to a new country in a minute. So, I travel a lot, but I usually go to the same places. So it was that ended up just being the dopest thing is seeing Vic, like all his people showing up to support him, even though, some of them were annoying or whatever. But so
We ain't gonna get into that.
yeah, we'll leave that part out. But some people were like a little annoying, but it was just cool to like watch your boy have fun and smile and everybody like showering him with gifts and praises, and that was the dopest part, man. Just to see, Vic enjoy his weekend. What about for you? What was cool to you?
Uh Definitely like everybody enjoying their time coming together. um, just with like the whole brotherhood and everything like that. But especially to me, just seeing like how you were saying the way people live out there, um, the style of life that you could be living out there, it seems like very calm, collected, and you don't have to be worrying about can I leave this here? Is this guy trying to finesse me? Because like on our trips to Mexico, you feel like everybody's trying to get over on you. Like how can I squeeze every last penny out of these guys? But when you're over there, it seems like people are a little more authentic, more like you know what I'm saying, like down
Yeah,
to
if you
earth.
buy this
With
from us, you buy it from us. It's not. We not about to hound
yeah,
you.
exactly. So I think that's what the dopest part of the trip was to me.
Yeah, and it was cool, especially like when we went to the water fountain show. We kind of like went away from the group, and we were
Hmm.
like, damn, people just like kicking it, seeing all the families out there. And then when I like before everybody had got there, and I was walking around by myself, I was like talking to some of those people that sell real estate out there, and on the side of like their buildings, they're saying like, oh, you can buy real estate with crypto or whatever. And then they were explaining to me like if you spend more than like I think $500,000, you get a 10-year citizenship or something like that. I'm like, man, this is dope because if y'all ever read that book, The Sovereign Individual, it talks about how countries will eventually have to compete for like citizens basically. Like you can get the best of the best in the whole world as long as you have the incentive to bring them there. So like, hey, you got some Bitcoin, you got some crypto, you want a citizenship, like, invest in us and we'll invest in you. Then you can sell your Bitcoin tax free and all that good stuff. So it's cool to see, like, all right, there's a lot of people that have moved from all over, like in search of like a peaceful life and like they built this out of nothing. So that was dope.
Saifedean talks a lot about that. He talks about a lot of the different countries that you have certain freedoms in some countries and better way of lifestyle. He talks a lot about that on a lot of his podcasts because I believe he's either had citizenship or residency in a few different countries between like
Yeah.
United States, Canada, I forget where else over there in the Middle East, but he talks a lot about that.
Yeah, that's dope though. It's dope that you could look at a country or a country could look at itself like a sports organization. Like, hey, we need the best of the best. Here's our incentive to bring you here. We're gonna make sure it's safe for you. We're gonna make sure it's family oriented. We're gonna make sure that you can sell your assets tax free. We're gonna make sure that what I mean. You buy real estate here, you keep it. You don't gotta pay property taxes. We'll figure out how to create the revenue through tourism or through tariffs or whatever. So I think that's pretty cool that you can see the open competition. Like when you get there, like yeah, they're trying to recruit the best, people in the world to move here. So I thought that was dope. Uh, let's go to like some Bitcoin news, some crypto news. What y'all got?
All right, so in my personal humble opinion, I think one of the most important things that's happened in the Bitcoin space recently is the SAB 121
Oh wait, hold
being.
on, bro. Hold on. Before we get to that, our last episode was before the election.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So let's talk about the run up for the election, and then we'll go into like what's come of the election. So our last episode was right before the election, and then
We
I mean
ran
not
up,
the
made
election, the
we made a
inauguration,
made,
the
made an
election.
all-time high.
Yeah, before the inauguration, and then yeah, Bitcoin goes to like what 108, 109, something crazy like that.
Mm-hmm.
Bitcoin ran up, and then yeah, like that was pretty dope to see. And then Trump comes day two with the what he came with. So we'll talk about that. But yeah, that was cool to see like the market get hot, and it gets hot quick because that was damn near like a $9,000 day.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, all right, let's get to the news.
All right, so back to what I was talking about, SAB 121, which I feel is one of the most important things to happen since we've had the approval of the ETFs. So without trying to get all technical and use big fancy words and try to confuse people. So SAB 121, in short, what it was a restriction on banks when it came to custodian crypto, right? So Gary Gensler, who's no longer part of the SEC, came out with this back in 2022 saying that banks weren't able to custody Bitcoin and they were classifying Bitcoin as a liability. So for for the banking institutions to have something as liability, they have to put it on their balance sheets differently. They have to go about things differently. So with this being rescinded, now they're able to classify Bitcoin as a asset and not a liability anymore. So what this opens up is it opens up the door for banks to be able to custody Bitcoin for their clients. And this is a big thing because before we had the ETFs, there was no, I like to use a freeway analogy. So the ETFs kind of paved the way for Bitcoin and for the stock market, right? That was the ETFs being approved. That's what connected those two together. And then now this is connecting the banks into all that play. So now this is allowing the banks to be able to come into play. So let's say somebody banks with Chase or Wells Fargo or whoever, and if they decide if they have Bitcoin, their bank can custody it for them, or eventually we're going to get to where banks are going to offer people crypto loans and all these things for their crypto that they have. So this is actually a very big deal because a lot of people that are high net worth individuals, they didn't have any kind of outlet before the ETFs, and then the ETFs kind of gave them an outlet, but then they weren't able to custody because when you go through an ETF, you're actually buying a paper Bitcoin through whoever you're getting your ETF through. So now with the banking institutions coming into play, now it's going to be where, hey, now people have this Bitcoin. If they want to be able to buy a house or if they want to be able to do whatever they want to do with it, they can go to their bank and say, hey, I have Bitcoin. I want you guys to custody my Bitcoin for me. And then once they offer whatever type of services, whether it be loans against their Bitcoin or whatever it may be. So this is now opening up the door for all that when this wasn't a possibility. So this is actually, in my opinion, something that's going to really shoot the price up because now, we have multi-millionaire and billionaires that can just go through their bank that they trust. They don't have to worry about going through an ETF. They don't have to worry about doing all this. They can go through their bank that they already are banking with, that they maybe have a relationship or whatever the case may be. So, that's some of the biggest news happening in the Bitcoin space right now.
Yeah, so we'll see banks offering lending products against
Yep.
Bitcoin. We'll see banks, hey, like I got 10 Bitcoin right now that's worth $1 million. I want to buy a $500,000 house, use my Bitcoin as collateral versus the traditional way of, okay, you need work experience. I mean, you need 2 years of work, tax
W
returns.
twos. Yep.
You need your W-2s, you need all these things where you're like, well, I have collateral and this is the best collateral in the history of the world. Just take this, bro, because if I don't make my payments, you're going to get Bitcoin, which is going to grow forever. So, yeah, I think this is like a win-win for the Bitcoin space. And Michael Saylor he went on a space or a podcast like a year or two ago. He was like, there's three things that need to
Three
happen
things.
in
Yeah.
order for Bitcoin to get to 5 million a coin. So one was the FASB accounting rules, so you can mark your Bitcoin to market. So basically, like let's say you buy $50,000 worth of Bitcoin and it goes down to 25,000. You mark it down so it looks like you took a $25,000 L. And then if Bitcoin goes up to 100K, you can't say, "Hey, I'm actually up 50,000." No, you're still down 25,000 according to those old accounting rules. So now that's changed. So you can show like, "Hey, I bought it at 50. It went down to 25. Now it's up to 100. So I'm net positive on my Bitcoin holdings." So that's changed. The other thing was what he just explained, and then the third thing was the ETFs. So that was Saylor's theory is that if all three of these things happen, this creates a path to a $5 million Bitcoin. And yeah, it's dope because you'll see banks probably buying Bitcoin or at least holding it and offering all these products. So I think yeah, that's dope, man. That's very good. OJ, you got anything to add on that?
Yeah, I was even gonna say that I think this catalyst, this news, I think this is way more of a catalyst for Bitcoin than how everybody was overly trying to push the strategic reserve. I think
Yeah.
we
Oh yeah, for
placed
sure.
too, I won't say we, but I think like a lot of people in the Bitcoin space placed a lot of weight on Trump and this Bitcoin reserve, Senator Lummins, and okay, her reserve. And I think that we kind of lost focus on other big news that's coming out that's a bigger catalyst because I know that we've seen what Trump has actually came out with this crypto stockpile and trying to tie everything other coins, and he's launching a meme coin, and you have other people you have
Hey,
like
hey, bro's a dweeb.
yeah, like we have the we
Bro's
have
a-
the we have the president of the United States launching a meme coin. And I think another thing a lot of Bitcoiners did was place they tried to prop the Bitcoin price on the president. Like, okay, well, Trump is gonna come in and save us and send us to here. And when it's like, okay, well, Bitcoin is gonna go up regardless of what
yeah,
Trump does, who's elected, whether it was Kamala Harris. Maybe the price would have pulled back a bit, but it would have done whatever it was gonna do regardless of who won the presidency. So I think that a lot of people are placing too much, weight on these things that the president is offering. And with the crypto stockpile, I kind of seen I you know beforehand believed in the Bitcoin reserve, but I think that when it comes to politicians, they just tell you what you want to hear to get in
get
office.
elected. Mhm.
Yep. And then once they get in office, they start doing whatever they want to do. And then you could see that with the stockpile, because I believe the stockpile is going to be a different stock. I seen something where it was like XRP, it was like a whole bunch of other different random coins that they're trying to add into the stockpile. And what people were sold on is, okay, yeah, Bitcoin Reserve, he spoke at one of those Bitcoin events, like, yeah, we're gonna do this, I guarantee you this, and then when it comes out, it's a stockpile. So to me, I just feel like we gotta stop putting so much weight on what other people are saying and just focus on the concrete, news that's coming out that's really beneficial for Bitcoin.
I
Yes.
got, I got a
Go
little something to say on
ahead,
that.
bro.
So the thing is, I feel like everything is it's just all cool, right? It's all cool to hear, it's all cool to see. Bitcoin got to 60,000 without the ETFs. It got to 60,000 without any talk of strategic reserve. It got to
Mhm.
60,000 without any talk of anything, right?
Yep.
Bitcoin is going to continue to go up regardless of what is happening in the news, right? And this is the point that I want people to fully understand. A lot of people think that United States is in control of Bitcoin. That's the beauty about Bitcoin. Nobody is in control. It doesn't matter what the United States decides to do. It doesn't matter what Russia
Yep.
decides to do. It's all, I feel like it's just all FUD. It's just all this. Like it's cool if we do get a Bitcoin strategic reserve. Cool. If they decided to approve the ETFs, cool. They decided to do all these things. It's cool. Like it helps the adoption of Bitcoin quicker when we have all these different approvals and removals of different laws and legislations. And they try to make it illegal for people to self custody Bitcoin. They've already tried to do all these things and throw all these different things at it. The news and everything that comes and goes, like it's nice to stay up to date. It's nice to see what's happening, and it's good to see like, okay, our president is talking about it. They are thinking about adopting it, and that's just gonna help the price. But regardless, if they never were to adopt it, if they never were to accept it, Bitcoin is gonna do its thing regardless. And I think that's the part that people need to understand, and I think that's why people need to take the news with a salt and grain, regardless if the news is super great or if the news is super bad, buy Bitcoin. Right? It doesn't
Yeah.
matter which. It doesn't matter. The news is just going to be the news. It's always going. There's going to be good stuff that's going to come. There's going to be bad stuff that's going to come. And look at what Bitcoin continues to do, regardless of the good news and regardless of the bad news. So I think the most important thing people should do is keep up with the news, see what they're talking about, but don't let that be your judgment on whether if you're going to buy some, if you're not going to buy some, if you're going to sell what you have, or if you're not going to sell. Just keep stacking. Just keep stacking. So
Yeah,
that's what I
and
got.
it's important that you guys like are understanding what he's saying, because one day it's going to come where the government's not doing the things that the Bitcoiners want. So right now
Mhm.
it seems like it's all like, oh yeah, everything's smooth, government pro government this, now I rock with the government, blah blah blah, right? But don't forget why Bitcoin was created in the first place. It was created in the first place because the government kept bailing out these large businesses taking stupid risks during the financial crash, and the fact that our government is being pimped out by the Federal Reserve and they keep printing more money and inflating away the value of our dollar. So the same people that hurt you won't be the people that come save you. So I think it's in our best interest if the government just stays out the way, right? So
Yeah.
that might include undoing, some laws and stuff that they had that were in Bitcoiners' way, but it would be, net beneficial if the government just stayed out our way. So yeah, like he was saying, I wouldn't get too high on any of the news because you don't you know Bitcoin's going to rock out regardless because people are going to adopt it regardless because it works in people's best interest, right? So that's what I need you guys to understand. I need you guys to understand that people are going to adopt Bitcoin and Bitcoin is going to win because it makes people's lives easier, right? So the equivalent of this in the normal world would be like the year is 1995 and you have Sears and then you have Amazon, right? And then the internet is the thing that's coming to change everything, right? So the internet is the technology that's here to change everything. No matter how bad the people at Sears don't want the internet or they're anti the internet, people will naturally choose to use the internet and use the apps and websites built on top of the internet because it makes their life easier, right? It's easier to go on Amazon and order something than it is to go to Kmart and then try to price match with Walmart and then try to price match with Sears and JCPenney when you have a one-stop shop in Amazon, right? So the internet made things simple. The people who did not adopt to that turned into dinosaurs, right? Where's JCPenney now? Where's Sears now? Where's Blockbuster now? It's adapt or go extinct. Now, that same exact thing is going to apply in Bitcoin, right? Why would somebody store their money in this asset, or this asset when they could just store it in Bitcoin? So, Bitcoin is going to win because it solves everyone's natural need to one, maintain their wealth or two, to grow their wealth, right? So if everyone in the world has an incentive to adopt the Bitcoin standard, Bitcoin will get adopted as long as we stay decentralized and secure, like Jeff Booth says, right? So yeah, I'm not too big like I'm not into the politics and stuff, so I don't want people to get too high on that, right? I take the stance where the government just needs to stay out of our way, and we'll be all right. So, with that being said, let's keep it moving. Anything else? Oh, let's talk about the Trump coin. So Trump launches his own fuck coin, right? And then I see some Bitcoiners folding like, yeah, see, we got a pro crypto,
Yeah.
we got a pro crypto president, and I'm like, hey, bro, it's a fuck coin regardless who. If my mom launched it, it's a fuck coin. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Nobody gets a
that
pass on
that
this, bro.
that even
Nobody gets a pass on this.
that even ties into like how you were saying that people are too playing too hard into the whole politics side, how you have a lot of Bitcoiners folding as soon as Trump launches a coin, they're yeah, like my president and buying it. And then I had a whole bunch of people DMing me asking me, is the Trump coin a scam? Should I buy that? Like when I hear stuff like that, I'm like, if you haven't learned by now, or if you're folding to like stuff like that, it's just like, what are you doing?
You see, Ray Lewis came out with a coin right after that.
Nah, I didn't even see
It's
that.
Hey,
it's gonna open the door up for eventually all celebrity, like the big names, or everyone's gonna have their coin eventually. That's the direction that we're headed.
now that wouldn't be so bad if they weren't obvious pump and dump schemes, right?
Hmm.
So the difference between someone launching a coin and what the Federal Reserve does is force, right? So if you guys go get a vanilla ice cream because you want a vanilla ice cream, that's one thing. If someone's forcing you to eat a vanilla ice cream, that's a whole different ball game, right? You're not
Yeah.
even gonna like the ice cream no more. So the problem with the dollar is not only can they create it out of thin air, but it's that you're forced to use it. You're forced to hold it. You're forced to pay your taxes, and then you're forced to do all these things with it. With crypto, it's like, yeah, anybody can launch, their little coins or whatever. So I guess it's not as bad as the dollar. The problem becomes this is an easy money making opportunity for the person launching that. And then the everyday people who are like, man, I grew up watching Ray Lewis. Let me buy his coin. That
Yep.
might be their first contact with the crypto space ever.
Hmm.
and now they just watch their $1,000 evaporate trying to support their hero. You know what I'm saying? So for y'all watching this, like, man, like, take a step back and you can see, like, okay, everyone's looking at this as like a way to just take advantage of the people who support them, right? So if I
Yeah.
launch the fuck coin, right, I'm just taking advantage of the people who support me. That's not cool. So I want y'all to realize, like, because we live in a free market, it's cool that you can launch your own coin, but then you're just gonna turn and dump it on everybody, and you're taking advantage of the people who rock with you or whatever. Now, with that being said, there could be some use for like crypto. Like if I want to, or let's say this podcast, if we wanted to launch a coin so we can get funding, we can make that happen right away, and then we can use that funding to get a studio and blah. There would be some type of net benefit for this, but why not do that on Bitcoin? The reason why people don't do that on Bitcoin is because they can't create it out of thin air, right?
Yep.
So if that was built on top of Bitcoin, that means you would have to have some Bitcoin, which means you need to exchange that for actual work, right? So the people, what they do is they just take the narrative and then they say, yeah, we're going to do this and we're going to raise money for this. But of course, I need to buy your random coin that you just created because then I don't need to have any other underlying things. And now that you guys did give me money for my fuck coin and I promised you X, Y, and Z, why would I go create a product now and try to sell it when I just got the money from the
Yeah,
dummies in the crowd?
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So it's that quickly that let people use their influence to finesse us, or that their fancy words. Like, remember me and OJ were reading the white paper for some fuck coin, and oh, bro, all they were doing is just stringing along big words, and you're
Yeah.
like, this no way. They're like, yeah, we're gonna utilize the blockchain technology to innovate, and it was just like this chat GPT
Yeah.
ass white.
Like, and I think
Go
go
ahead, bro.
I was just gonna say like just if you're thinking a coin is a scam, one, try to locate their white papers, and two, look at the tokenomics of the coin. Like I know with the Trump coin, didn't they pre-mine or issue themselves like what was it, 80, 90%
Like
of the
80, 90%
supply?
of all of it. Yeah, like,
Like it's like
bro, that's crazy.
the
Yeah, that's
president of the
crazy.
United States like launched a coin where they pre-mine 80, 90%. So us,
Yeah,
the public, we get to trade around 10% of the coin. And when it goes up, when you put your real dollars for this coin they just typed in a computer, they're just gonna dump it or slow like I think with the Trump coin he won't I don't think it'll be a thing where they dump it immediately like these other coins, but I think it's just gonna be a slow
yeah.
like grind downwards. So I just think everybody should look at the tokenomics of their coin. Like even like XRP, like I think 99% or even 90, it's 90 plus percent of the supply was pre-mined, and they issue that out to, venture capitalists to make money. They issue it out to themselves. They own half of it. And then, you got
Yep.
people using their
They
real, go ahead.
they were even what XRP was doing too is they were taking some of that money, because you got to think it's the community of people who are buying the token, which gives the token value, and
Mhm.
then in the Ripple Foundation or the Ripple company is then taking some of that money, they're selling it to the market, taking that money and giving it to politicians in order to be included in the strategic reserve stockpile, or to push this legislation forward and all that stuff. So you're like, they're finessing you, promising you X, Y, and Z, and you're like, yeah, we're gonna get rich off of this, and then they're turning around and trying to like backdoor the Bitcoin community, and you're
Yeah.
like, you don't realize your money is being used to like, go against the solution to all these fucking problems. Like, and that's the problem with crypto in itself. Like, bro, Satoshi didn't donate to nobody.
Yeah.
Satoshi's not picking a side politically. Satoshi's not using his pre-mine 1 million Bitcoin for any that money has not moved. Those coins have not moved. And you realize, like, if you have a founder in your token, you're probably cooked. And when I say probably, I mean 100%. You're cooked, bro. They have a Twitter. You say one wrong thing and people are gonna be like, no, you support the wrong person, or and you're like, man, you don't want to deal with this money. There's no gold foundation where somebody's creating gold and then using gold to manipulate politics, or at least try. You get what I'm saying? So your money should have no CEO.
Yeah. It's even crazy how I just think that, you know, like every cycle there's a narrative and it just ends bad when it's away from Bitcoin. Once that narrative is away from Bitcoin, for the people who didn't follow Bitcoin, they just end up losing a lot of money. Like, you
Yep.
know, last
You
cycles,
notice how those narratives only come when we're when we're in the bull market.
yeah,
Yep.
Those
I
narratives,
exactly.
those narratives never come around in the bear market. You don't hear
Hmm.
about a lot of these other coins. You don't hear about how you can leverage and how you can do this and how
Yep.
you can get return on your Bitcoin or how you can get this. You don't hear about none of that stuff during the bear market. You only hear about that stuff surprisingly when the bull market is hitting.
Yeah, that's how I feel about all these like XRP people. It's like when XRP was riding around 20, 30 cents, nobody was saying anything about the technology, how it can do this, how it can do that. But once the price gets to moving, you build any narrative possible to get other people to buy along so you could just, you know, because I think, well, not even I think, with these altcoins and these random ass coins, they just, you need other people, like day to day people to buy the coin. But you know, with
Yep.
Bitcoin, it's, you know, large corporations, states, countries
Yep.
that are buying. You don't need to, we don't
Yep.
need to go to outside and, hey, did you hear about Bitcoin? That like we're doing this podcast because we just
Like
want to,
Jehovah Witnesses.
yeah,
When
like we're
they
doing
ride
this.
by on their bike and come knock on your door.
And we don't.
I hope y'all are catching what OJ is saying. Like we're not telling you guys to buy Bitcoin because the price of Bitcoin will then go up. You don't have enough money. I don't have enough money. All of us collectively don't have enough money to move this thing anymore, right? It's gotten too big. The
Mhm.
price is going to go up because everyone's going to adopt it, from countries to private equity to public corporations to states to cities. Everyone's going to adopt it. This thing is going to go up. We're telling you, get on board. Now, with these other crypto projects, it's so small and you don't have these large institutions or organizations that are going to buy it, that I need to convince my brother to buy it.
Yeah,
It's almost, hey, bro, join in with me. Hey, join in with me so we can pump the price. That's
it's
what OJ said.
yeah, and it's even crazy that like there's states, nations, large corporations. You have, you know, Michael Saylor and then a lot of other companies that are buying tons and tons of Bitcoin, and you don't hear anything about any of these other coins that happening. So it's just like I don't understand how people can see that and are like, okay, well, I'm gonna just go buy. All the money's pouring in on the A side, but I'm gonna just go to the B side where, you know, I don't hear
Because,
anything just
yeah,
because, you know, price is 22 cents. Let me tap in. Like
yeah.
that's how people think.
So why do you guys think that people see like these crypto tokens and they fall for the BS, like, hey, I'm never gonna own one whole Bitcoin, but I can own, like, what is it about this stuff? Because
Because they feel like they're going to get rich quick. That's all what it boils down to. No anyone I guarantee you 90% of the people invested in, pick any coin you want, ask them why are you invested. Someone the other day told me that they were in XRP. I said, "Oh, why are you investing in XRP?" And they said, "Oh, because I want to make more money." That's
yes.
what like like
Oh,
because I want to make more money. Like, bro, like what? Like can
yeah.
tell like that's it. They couldn't tell me nothing else about anything. They don't know anything what type of projects, or they can't tell you anything about anything, but they just want to make more money. So I think it's like people see it that, oh, this is only 50 cents, or this is only $1, this is only $10. So if I whatever I throw at it, once it triples or quadruples or 10x's, then hey, I'm gonna 10x my money. So I think that's what people are seeing. I think because the price is so low for pretty much every other thing that's out there, people see that the price is so low, so they're feeling like they're able to get more for their money, that they're gonna be able to get super rich super quick.
Yeah.
I personally, that's what I personally think.
And I know that you guys are listening to this thinking like, what's wrong with them saying they want to make more money? Because they're not. That's why we're laughing. You're
Yeah.
not going to make more money. Don't miss the joke, y'all. You're not going to make more money. And that's the reason why we're laughing. So I look at it like this. People usually make investments off of like one or two things. One, they're strictly in it for the financials, right? So you say, hey, I don't care about what none of y'all talking about, bro. I got kids to feed. I'm trying to run the scoreboard up. I'm trying to put numbers up. Okay, Bitcoin, right? Because we can just go check the all-time chart. Nothing's outperformed Bitcoin. Or the other part is like, no, I want to invest in something that is going to help society out and that's going to solve a problem, actually have a use case. Okay, Bitcoin, right? So the way that I see it and the way that I know that, my guys see it is that either way you go, Bitcoin's the answer. You know what I mean? So falling for the like, well, you can make more money. A good like example of that would be like, let's say you got a house in East St. Louis that you can invest in, right? And this house is 15K. Or you have a mansion in Beverly Hills and you could put 10K into either one of them, right? Finding these fuck coins would be the equivalent of saying, I'm going to put my money into the East St. Louis house just because the price is cheaper. And you're like, yeah, bro, but it's not strictly the price being lower that's going to make it go up. Because what
Yeah,
you need to understand is which one of these houses is more likely to go up in value, right? And why? So the price of the house doesn't tell you enough. You need to know what are like the economic factors surrounding the house, right? So just because this house is 15 grand and it's ran down and it's in the hood, you think you're gonna come and buy it just because it's cheaper, right? Or you put your $15 million in, in a good neighborhood in Beverly Hills somewhere, or in La Jolla somewhere, where they're developing, where they have nice schools and they're developing malls and all that other good stuff. So it's where's the rest of the money coming from, and where do you think, like which one is more sustainable? So when you start to look at like other crypto tokens, you realize like, bro, who else besides me? Like, what other fools are about to come dump their money? It's not big institutions. You don't have any large institutions saying, hey, let's put our money in fuck coin, because
yeah,
why would they? Those things are securities, and a lot of these corporations can't tie their money into another security, right? So they have, but they can with a commodity, right? Because what happens is, if Apple owns 80% of Microsoft and then Microsoft goes under, now you have two companies that just went under. That's why we have laws that prevent, like one company from owning the equity, a majority of the equity in another company, because it creates like this systematic risk where if one company goes under, then every company that owns a bunch of it goes under as well. But you can do that with a commodity, or you can store your money in gold, you can store your money in Bitcoin, right? So these crypto tokens are securities; they're being issued, right? So somebody's creating them, and just someone's creating them out of thin air. And you're like, all right, well, you're creating a security, but you don't have a license to do that. That's why you got a lawsuit from the SEC. And so it just gets deeper. And what these people have realized is it's faster for me to launch a coin and to pay an influencer to talk about how good my coin is than it is for me to go create an actual product in the marketplace.
yeah. And another thing is like the day-to-day people aren't smart enough or they're not skilled enough to time the market. Like
Yeah.
I know that like in the last cycle, I know I'm not sure if you did Ace, if you bought any altcoins last cycle before getting orange pill, but I know I did and I didn't make
Oh
any
boy,
money.
I got clapped.
like,
I
like
got straight demolished.
yeah, like and I know at a point in time you were probably up on your portfolio where you maybe have been up 80%, 200, 250. It's just like, but what's your exit strategy? Like everybody always says, "Well, I bought it at this price and it's at this price." And it's like, "Okay, well, how much money did you walk away with?" Because you always think it's gonna go higher and higher and higher and higher, then you get left with nothing. So I
Yep.
just think another thing is with these altcoins is like, okay, well, we may not be, like the day-to-day average person isn't skilled enough to, okay, I bought it at $1, it went to $2, I'm out. I made my 100% return, that's my money. They'll see it do 200, 300% return, like, okay, well, it's gonna do 1,000%. Like my $100 is gonna go to 150,000. So I'm gonna wait for that, even though if your $100 went to 10,000, that's a good return right there, but nobody's taking that. So then
Yeah, so go ahead.
go
Sorry.
ahead. Yeah, yeah, you can go ahead.
No, I
But
was just gonna say, go ahead, finish, OJ.
I was just gonna say that, yeah, like then at that point you have the large whales dumping on everybody, and then nobody makes money but the who has the highest holdings. So I just think us day to day people trying to trade these altcoins or invest in them, we're not skilled enough to okay, I'm gonna time the bottom, then I'm also gonna time the top, and then walk away with profit.
Yeah, so what I was going to say, tying into what you were talking about, how a lot of people just aren't skilled. So something that I want everyone to go to, Chris, you got your computer up. You're going to be my guy that goes to the websites for me. I want everyone to go to bitcoin.costaverage.com, right? And this will work for anyone. So Chris will bring it up. It's bitcoin.costaverage.com. All right. And this ties in exactly to what OJ was talking about. So 99% of people out there aren't good enough at this to be able to time the market, to be able to hop in and hop out. A lot of people just either they just don't have the time, they don't have the skills, wherever the case may be. So for the average person who's just like, okay, I hear what you guys are saying, I have this amount that I can put away every week, right? And it's going to be different for everyone. We got some people out there who may only be able to put $25 a week, and some people might be able to put 25,000 a week, okay? But I want you guys to go to this website. Did you find it yet, Chris?
Hold on, I gotta get my computer permission to share Google Chrome
Oh,
and
okay. Well, anyway, so anyone can go. It's bitcoin.costaverage.com. And what you can do is you can go back and you can mess around with it and see if you would have started maybe
Can you
six
see it
months
now?
ago, or if you would have started a
Yeah.
year ago. You can put in the dates to when you started. You can put today's date, and you can put the amount that you put in, either weekly, bi-weekly, semi-monthly, monthly, or just a one-time purchase, and you'll see it will show you how much you accumulated, what your return on investment is, and you can see exactly what would have happened if you would have just chipped away, whether it be a little bit a week or a little bit every month. And
Let's
so
go
this,
0928. We'll just use 3, 4 months ago as an example.
okay, all right,
Uh,
2024.
hey, if you guys see all these weird numbers and stuff, I'm on a French keyboard. I'm on the European keyboard. So it's not like I know how to type.
I was about to say, I'm like, bro, typing that slow. I wouldn't go say
All right, so we'll go if you just started a few months ago, and then we'll just do what, like $100 a
We'll
week?
put 100 a week. Yeah, 100 a week.
100 a week. All right,
20,
cool.
20 something percent return, right?
Yeah.
23?
So that so
23,
so 23% return, and the average for the S&P 500 for an entire year is like 12%, 10%.
12%. Yeah, something like that.
So let's go back 4 years, right? So I think that if you're going to invest in Bitcoin minimum, if you're
You
going to
got to go
save your
one
money
full cycle.
one full cycle, let's go four
One,
years.
yeah, and we'll get into cycles, you guys, here in a little bit, so you guys can understand what we mean by one full cycle. What is that? 200%?
Yep. So we got $100 a week for the last 4 years. You've put 17,500 in. You've acquired half of a Bitcoin, and the value of it would be 52,000 right now, right? You put 17,000 in, and it's worth $52,000. That's just $100 a week.
A
Some of
yeah.
y'all
hundred
can
bucks a
do a
week.
thousand.
Yeah, like I said, for everyone it will look different, and the thing is, the number that percentage is going to be the same regardless if you're putting 100 a week, 1,000 a week, 10,000 a week. This is the beauty of Bitcoin. It works equally for everyone, no matter what your net worth is. The system works the same. Bitcoin, the network, has worked the same from the day it started up until today. Everyone has the same. So this is why people are like, I don't have enough money to afford a whole coin. You don't need enough money to afford a
Yeah,
whole coin. You just
exactly.
need whatever. If after you take care of all your bills and you got $25 left, and instead of going to F it off into whatever, it's like, hey, let me throw that into my future. Let me just constantly keep doing that. And we already said the example of the guy who did it for 8 straight years, right? We've already talked about that example. So
Let's
like,
go. Let's go 25 a week just to show people.
yeah,
25
25
a
a
week.
week
You
even.
put 4,300 in. Like, but imagine this is your savings account
This
growing.
is your savings,
It's your
yes.
savings account growing. $25 a week. You put 4,300 in. It's worth 13,000 right now, right? Like you're just saving $25 a week, right? So this is a savings account that's growing and looking out for you. Now, what I want us to do is talk about Bitcoin as a measuring stick, because what happens is people will go look on a chart and they'll see, well, see, this coin went up, and then the Captain Save coins. Well, they'll say, well, look, this one's more than Bitcoin in this very specific period. So we're going to show you guys how to measure something in Bitcoin and the importance of doing that, because something might be growing in a dollar, but then if you price it against Bitcoin, that's you saying, okay, would if I saved in this other thing versus saving in Bitcoin, would I be up or down? Right. So instead of listening to us say, hey, leave those fuck coins alone because Bitcoin's going to grow more, we're going to show you this on a chart. Right. And this will also make sense why we don't recommend you putting your money in the S&P 500 or putting it into the stock market, because those stocks are not growing against Bitcoin. The S&P 500 is not growing against Bitcoin, but we're going to show you that. So don't trust anything that we say. We're going to explain to you and show you that. So I'll start it off with you guys saved this website, by the way. This is a great website.
Yep.
So I'll start it off by explaining measuring things in the first place, right? So this microphone, right? So I've used this example before, but whatever. This mic, or we'll say my computer right here. All right, my laptop. So I can say, hey, I'm gonna sell this laptop. Give me $1,000 for it, right? And the reason why we're gonna use $1,000 is because I think that's the fair price. So I noticed that, like, and I know that how much work you have to go put in the real world to get $1,000 is probably equal to what this laptop is worth. So whether you put in that work yesterday, you put in that work this morning, or you put that work in 4 years ago, $1,000 worth of work is probably what this laptop is worth, right? But then imagine that. So Ace is going to buy my laptop for $1,000. But then I noticed that there's more and more dollars in the whole ecosystem. So he walks in the room, a pocket full of dollars, and I'm like, give me 1,000 of them, you can have this laptop. But then more people keep bringing more dollars in and bringing more dollars into the room, bringing more dollars into the room. I'm like, well, bro, the dollar's not that hard to get. Actually, I thought it was semi hard to get. That's why I only wanted 1,000 of them. But because they keep making more of these dollars. Actually, let me get 2,000 of them, right? So, but people keep bringing in more dollars into the room, more dollars into the room. Like the room keeps getting flooded with money. So what's going to happen is I'm going to tell him like, hey, actually, I need 3,000 for this laptop, right? Now, imagine we're looking at this on a chart. If we're looking at this on a chart, what it looks like is that the value of my laptop is going up, right? So if you're an investor, OJ, and you're saying, look, the laptop used to be $1,000, now it's worth $3,000. The laptop's becoming more valuable.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like on a chart. But in reality, the reason why it's going up is because there's more money coming into the system. So it's not that the value of this laptop is going up, it's the value of the dollar is going down because people keep bringing more into the room. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So when you're looking on a chart, it looks like, yo, this laptop's super valuable because it used to be 1,000, now it's 3,000, right? But think about it, it's the same laptop. Nothing's changed about the laptop at all.
Yeah.
It doesn't do I didn't upgrade it. I didn't make this bulletproof. I didn't do any software upgrades. I didn't do anything to it. The laptop's not becoming more valuable. The dollar's becoming less valuable. That's why the
Hmm.
price went up, right? So that's what's happening in the stock market, right? So you do have some companies that are actually becoming more valuable. They're releasing new products and stuff like that. But for the most part, the stock market is just absorbing all the new money going into the ecosystem, right? So back to the laptop scenario. So, okay, so Ace, me and you don't make a deal. So, OJ, I say, hey, you want to buy this laptop? Give me a little chunk of gold. Give me a chunk of gold, right? We'll say 1 ounce of gold. Give me an ounce of gold. So you're like, all right, here's an ounce of gold. And I'm waiting to see if anybody's going to bring more gold through that door, right? Because I don't want to buy something that anybody can just make more of. So I'm waiting, I'm watching the door. I'm like, man, he says this gold thing is valuable. Let me see how easy it is for somebody to make more gold. And I noticed that people slowly bring more gold in, but they can't bring it in at the same rate as the dollar. Because the dollar, you can snap your fingers, make another dollar. Therefore, you could just keep bringing it into the room. But with gold, you need to go trade for it, you need to go to war for it, or you need to go get a ice pick and dig that bitch out the ground. So there is more gold coming in the room, but it's a lot slower. So my price of this laptop's not going from 1 ounce to 1.5 to 2 ounces as fast as the dollar went from 1,000 to 2,000 to 3,000, right? So the gold supply is growing about 2% per year. So if we were to use this scenario, we're to say, hey, they're bringing more gold into the room, but they're doing it slowly, right? So I'm good with just taking that 1 ounce. We can swap 1 ounce for this laptop, right? Or if we wait a year, maybe we go from 1 ounce to 1.1 ounce or 1.2 ounces, right? But we don't go to 2 ounces anyway because they're not making as much gold as fast. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Hmm.
Okay. So what that means is the gold isn't being manipulated as fast as the dollar, right? So when you want to measure the worth of something and how much value it's gaining, you want to use the measuring stick that isn't moving too much in length, right? So we know the dollar is being manipulated. If we were to use grass, the price will go up all day, every day, because they're just making more grass, right? So the
Yeah.
grass is going to go up. So if we were going to price the laptop in grass, in pounds of grass, it's going to grow very, very, very quickly. If we use it in dollars, it's going to grow a lot faster than gold, but slower than the grass. If we use gold, it's gonna move way slower than both the dollar and the grass. Right now, let's say we use Bitcoin. Right, so now we're going to measure this in Bitcoin. All right, so we're going to measure this in Bitcoin. I'm going to say, hey, give me not even a tenth of a Bitcoin. Give me a tenth of that, right? So give me 0.001 Bitcoin for this, right? And I'm watching to see if there's any more Bitcoin going to come through the door, right? And nobody brings any more Bitcoin through the door. So I'm like, oh, yeah, like obviously you can't just snap your fingers and make another Bitcoin, right? So there's no more Bitcoin coming through the door ever, right? So I'm like, whoa, Bitcoin's not coming through the door. Now, let's say people are making more of these laptops and somebody makes a better laptop, but even faster, right? So I'm going to say, hey, actually, instead of giving me 0.001 Bitcoin, give me 0.0001, right? So if the Bitcoin's going up in dollar terms and this thing is going down or is getting older, the price is going to fall against Bitcoin, right? Does that make sense to you guys? Right?
Hmm.
So another way to put that is if my salary, if OJ, you're paying me in salary, you're paying me 1 Bitcoin a year,
Mhm.
and the current price of Bitcoin is $1,000. I mean $100,000, right? And then next year, Bitcoin goes to 200,000, right? Well, now you're not gonna you don't necessarily have to pay me one whole Bitcoin anymore. You could pay me
Yeah.
half a Bitcoin. That would be equivalent to what we grew. And then Bitcoin goes up from there. So now you're only paying me a third of a Bitcoin. So my salary looks like it's going down if you price it in Bitcoin, but in reality it's staying flat, right?
Yeah.
So what you're measuring things in matters. And you want to measure in the thing that's being manipulated the least. So with that being said, let's look at different stocks and let's look at different crypto tokens and price them in Bitcoin to see if they're growing or not. Right? Damn, I feel like that was a long spiel, but let's get to it.
Nah,
It was
that was
needed.
good. Yeah.
It was needed. Now it's time to put the visual to the
All right.
audio.
So let me share.
Oh, buddy, on that screen, he's a beast.
This guy?
Yeah, he's a free climber, I believe.
All right. So we're going to launch the SPY. First, we're going to look at SPY just in dollars. Come on.
Dang, Spies at 603. That's crazy.
Yeah, no.
Maybe
You have to, it's not pulling up.
Oh, there we go.
You
All right. So we got, and let's go on the day chart. All right. So we got each of these bars represents one day, right? So we're just gonna pull back to get a very big, like the bigger picture. All right. So we're looking at the top 500 companies in the country, right? A basket of the top 500 companies, but we're pricing it in dollars. So as you can tell, it's just going up, right? So this is the traditional investment advice, right? Don't go try to pick individual stocks. Just simply put your money into the S&P 500 and do nothing, right? And that makes sense because when you're pricing it in dollars, November of 2010, it was at $121 for one share of SPY, and now it's 600, right? So you 6x your money damn near,
hmm.
right? Or you 5x your money, 600% return or 6x return, right? Now, so it looks like it's growing. But going back to that laptop analogy, that's because they keep bringing more dollars into the ecosystem. So, how many dollars that were in the world in 2010 versus how many dollars are in the world now? This gain is just making up for all those new dollars, right? So, I'll prove that by pricing SPY in gold. Again, forgive me for the for the characters, bro. There we go. And then we'll go GLD. All right. So here we got today, right? So it shows you a ratio 2.37. Now let's just go back. How far can we go back? Move this to months.
if you go to a week or month, you can go back further.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to month. So now each bar represents 1 month. There we go. All right. So starting in 2005, right? I think this is when gold got its ETF, right? So going back to 2005, you can see that the S&P 500 is a little bit less than flat, right? So it would open here at what 2.61 and now it's 2.7. So when you price the S&P 500 in gold, it's actually not up. But in dollars, it went up like crazy. Make sense?
Mhm.
All right. So now let's go look at it in Bitcoin.
You could even price the S&P 500 with the M2 money supply. I think that chart would also show that it hasn't grown at all when you factor in the monetary expansion.
Let's go.
Let's see if that they have a chart for that. Do they have one?
I've never priced in the M2 before, so
Oh, okay.
try
Click
to.
enter and see.
Let me go to BTC.
Okay.
All right. Now we're going to look at the S&P 500 priced in Bitcoin.
And this is back to what Chris was saying. Anything that you want to invest in or things that people are telling you to get into, this is what you want to do. You want to come on here, and he's on tradingview.com, which is a free website for anyone to be able to go on to. You can go on here and you can do this yourself for free. It's just not costing you any money. You can compare any asset you would like.
So here we are. Look, y'all, let's just go backwards. Does it look like the stock market is growing to y'all? Does it look like the S&P 500 is growing to y'all? It's just straight down, right? Moving to days. So as you can see, The S&P 500 is falling against Bitcoin. It's growing against the dollar. It's flat against gold, but it's falling against Bitcoin. See, I can't make this stuff up. So I wouldn't tell you to go put your money into something that's not growing against Bitcoin when you could just put your money in Bitcoin. Now, you can do this with, it doesn't have to be SPY. You can go Apple. You can go, all right, you can go Apple. Is Apple growing against Bitcoin? Hey, the first time you guys seen this, wasn't your mind blown?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Do
just like,
do do XRP now.
Oh, brother. I wish I was on a normal keyboard, man. This is making me look sloppy. All right. Pricing XRP in Bitcoin. All right. XRP is not growing against Bitcoin, right? So the reason why people are like, oh, yeah, well, go look at XRP. Well, yeah, because you're pricing it in the dollars, right? So I'm going to show you the difference between XRP in dollars and XRP in Bitcoin. So we'll see the XRP Bitcoin chart, but let's go XRP to the US dollar. That looks drastically different. Oh, this is market cap. Hold on. That looks drastically different.
oh,
This
because it
looks like,
looks.
oh, it went from five, well, I think it opened at 17 cents to the public to $3. It looks like it's growing.
Is that an all-time high for XRP or what is it?
I believe so.
And it's crazy that it looks like an all-time high in terms of dollars, and then when you price it in Bitcoin, it's down 86% from its high.
All
So this
right.
is what you guys will see people on the internet do is they're gonna show you this, and it looks like, oh, it used to be 17 cents, and now it's $3.13. All right. So hear me out, y'all. Hear me out. It used to be 17 cents, and now it's $3.13. Bitcoin used to be a fraction of a penny, and now it's $102,000. So, do you want to see something go from a dime to $3 or a dime to 100,000? That's a gigantic difference. All right. So, in the dollars, XRP looks like it's growing. You put that in Bitcoin, XRP is not growing. So, nothing that we've showed you is growing against Bitcoin.
Okay.
If it,
Okay. Before you bring up another one, go to priceinbitcoin21.com real quick so we can get a big overview of a lot of things at one time. So that way you don't have to keep typing in a whole bunch of different tickers.
all right.
That way people can get a good overview of fiat, precious metals, commodities, bond market, housing, wages, like so people can really see and really compare. And the cool thing about this website is you can either keep it in sats or you can toggle it over into Bitcoin.
All right. So yeah, we'll talk about the sats. We'll talk about sats so you guys can have like a understanding. But all right, we're gonna look at this in Bitcoin, right? So what this is doing is comparing the return of all these different currencies, commodities, equities,
Real estate.
housing, real estate, everything, if you price it in Bitcoin. So the same thing we just showed you on trading view, we're now showing you here, right? So the year to date, the dollar is down 57% against
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin. 1 year is down 70%. 3 years is down 55%. 5 years is down 88%. Right? If you don't see something light up in green, I think there's a small delay on this website, but if you don't see something light up in green, it's not growing against Bitcoin. So why would you put your money there? So for you to put your money in Walmart instead of Bitcoin is to say you want less money. So that's why we were saying that when Ace was saying he asked somebody why they were investing in XRP and they said because they wanted more money, bro. That's why we laughed because you're like, if you want the most money as you possibly can without taking a significant risk, Bitcoin. All right, so
Yeah,
let's just scroll down this.
and
Don't
also,
want to put your money in something against something that's constantly growing. That's working
y-
backwards. That's running on the treadmill going in the wrong direction.
Yep.
yeah, and I
Where
was
you
Even
gonna go?
also
so,
gonna, go ahead.
I was gonna say go to the housing so people can see what they can see the actual
Yep.
the United
I got
States
you.
median new house, and they also have the UK on here. So
Yep.
if you want to get a house in the UK, it's going to cost you about 2 Bitcoin. The United States about 4 Bitcoin, but it has on there. I think it's closer towards the bottom of the.
I'll get to the housing thing. I just want to scroll
Yeah,
down this. So look, if you look at Facebook, look at Apple, you look at Amazon, you look at Microsoft, right? You look at Alphabet. None of this stuff. Look at all these banking sectors. None of this stuff is growing against Bitcoin.
and all this stuff can be verified. Like, don't just take our word. Don't just take this website's word. You can actually go compare this stuff and look for yourself to make sure that these numbers are accurate. Like, we're not putting these numbers in here. We can't manipulate these numbers. The numbers don't lie. You can go verify everything that's on here is all verifiable.
Yeah, and I was even gonna say that when he's saying nothing grows against Bitcoin, if you zoom out on a long-term scale, because you'll have pockets of like 2 weeks, 2 months. Because
Yeah. Yeah.
you remember that tweet I had made the other day, and that guy had made that comment like, "Oh, XRP has went up from 50 cents to $3, and Bitcoin in that time period went from 70K to 100K." And I'm like, well, if you zoom out and look at the bigger picture and zoom out to a longer time frame, you can see that
Yeah.
XRP is
All right.
down 86% from its all-time high against Bitcoin. So it's like, okay, well, you're
It's
gonna,
not even close to its all-time high
yeah,
in
it's not it's not anywhere close to it.
close, bro. So what that means is instead of putting your money in uh Bitcoin, if you would have just put it in XRP and then you just let it run, and then your twin brother puts the same exact amount of money in Bitcoin and lets it run, he's going to outperform you like crazy. You might have a
Exactly.
better week than him at one random period of time. You might have a better 2 months than him at one very like random period of time, but you don't know when that random period of time is going to come. But just
Exactly.
putting your money somewhere and doing nothing, saving your money in something, none of this stuff is growing against Bitcoin. All right. US median new house. If you price it in Bitcoin, the new house costs 4.2 Bitcoin, right? In the UK, it costs 2.7 Bitcoin, right? It's going down. What this means year to date, 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, this means that housing is becoming more affordable. If you want to save up to buy a house, save in Bitcoin, right? Okay, this is how that works. Okay, so median new house, if Bitcoin's 100,000 and a new house is 4.2, so that's $420,000, right? Now imagine this. 5 years ago, hold on, let's look at the debt clock. Hey y'all, this is the facts only zone, by the way.
Facts.
Yeah,
No, I
This
don't
is
want.
the facts only zone.
Yeah,
because
we ain't
people
coming.
with the
We ain't coming with no BS
Yeah.
info made up. I think this. Nah, we're going strictly off the numbers that are presented to us and everybody else.
And I promise you, if there was something that outgrew Bitcoin, all of us would be on it because
yeah,
why wouldn't we
exactly.
want more
Why
money?
wouldn't we?
We're not gonna take less money just for the a kumbaya, let's all be in
Yeah,
this together. No, bro, we all got mouths to feed.
that's why
Facts.
diversification don't make no sense to me. Like, why am I diversifying into something that's not growing against this
Diversification is
asset?
for people who are unsure of themselves. That's what
Yeah.
it
Fact.
is.
So, all right. So check this out. What is it? I'm looking for housing,
Housing.
housing. So over here, dollar to crypto, homelessness. Tell me if y'all see it. They have a
What are you looking
point
for?
here where it
Are you
shows
looking for
you
home sales?
where it's like average new house now versus 2000.
Oh,
Oh, here we go. Median new home. Okay. So you guys see this where my mouse is at?
Yep.
All right. So starting in the year 2000, a median new home was 161,000 and now it's 421,000, right? So it's gotten 3 times more expensive, right? So imagine you're saving in dollars, right? So you start with $10,000 in the year 2000 and you're like, I'm going to save up to buy a new house, right? The cost of the house went from 161,000 to 421,000, right? It's getting more expensive,
in
right?
dollars.
In dollars. You're chasing something that's running away from you. That's basically what that means, right? In dollars. Now, that's from the year 2000 to 2025. That's a 25-year thing, right? And the house is tripled. Okay, let's just go 5 years ago in Bitcoin, right? So we just go 5 years in Bitcoin, and you put your money into Bitcoin. You put that $10,000 into Bitcoin. Let me find my USD, man. All these conversions and stuff is really me making me look sloppy over here. All right, here we go. US dollars. All right, 5 years ago. So we'll go back to February 1st, right? So you put your $10,000 into Bitcoin. So that gets you about one Bitcoin. 5 years later, that one Bitcoin's worth 100,000, right? So it would have taken you 5 years ago, hypothetically, the median house is like 300,000. So it would have taken you 30 Bitcoin to get a house, right? You got a $300,000 house and you got a $10,000 Bitcoin. It would have taken you 30 Bitcoin, right? But all you got is you don't have 30 Bitcoin. All you got is 10 grand. So you put that 10 grand into Bitcoin. You put your 10 grand in Bitcoin, and now Bitcoin runs to 102 grand. So that house went from being worth 30,000, now it's only worth four, right? So housing is becoming more affordable. You used to need 30 Bitcoin, now you only need four. But in dollars, you used to need 300,000 of those dollars, and now you need 400 and something thousand of those dollars. So the value of the house is going up in dollars, but it's going down in Bitcoin. Does that make sense? Bitcoin's making houses more affordable. Bitcoin's making everything more affordable. If you were to look at your grocery bill and you were to price it in Bitcoin, it's becoming more affordable. But if you price it in dollars, it's becoming
More
um,
expensive.
more expensive, right? So there's that. A few more charts just for let's go. A few more charts just to show people, and then we'll move on to the next subject. Let's go Microsoft. Uh,
Do y'all think most people don't know that you could price things in Bitcoin?
Yeah, I think so.
yeah, yeah. I think most people don't know that. What's Microsoft's?
MSFT.
All right, let's go Microsoft BTC. I'm also going to explain to you guys why these things aren't growing and they're not even poised to grow. All right, here we go. We got Microsoft
Falling.
not
Falling.
growing.
Falling to Bitcoin.
What's everyone
Growing.
else?
Huh?
Tesla. Let's
Did,
go
oh
Tesla.
yeah, I was
Tesla.
about to say
Yep.
Tesla.
Man, and until I get a new keyboard, I'm not volunteering for this no more. Oh, this is crazy.
Hey,
Wait, is
them
it
them
like
them European keyboards, boy, some brain, boy. Those, whew. Like
I
looking at a Rubik's cube.
I think
is
it's
it
because so used to you're so used to the American keyboard from when you type to when you write on the keyboard.
Yeah,
You're very
yeah,
used to it. All right, here we
it's
go.
crazy.
Tesla.
Falling. 'Cause I'm
right?
free,
Uh,
free falling. Everything's falling.
what else we got?
I think
What else do
one that
people love?
maybe somewhat might be
You can
have
do
at one
meta.
point was keeping up was maybe Nvidia at one point. Maybe because they had that little, but I would want to
When
see
they
what
had
that
when
looks.
they had that when they had that little run.
Yeah, I think maybe they had like that little pop. Okay,
Yeah, I
now
think
that
it was
looks.
this 2021. It was this
Yeah.
stretch.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I think it was that stretch right there that you're talking about.
But even if you zoom out, it's still same
Yeah,
shit.
still
Oh
falling.
shit, bro. Right? So, uh, there's that.
Yeah. So we gave you guys some good tools for you guys to go find your best crypto coins out what do you call them, fuck coins. Go find your best fuck coins. Go find
Oh,
whatever
yeah. You're right. Let's get back on these fuck coins ass. Hold on, let me bring these
and
charts up one time. Hold on,
and,
because I'm on
and,
these
and
fuck
take
fuck.
time to compare
Because I know people are gonna be like, you purposely skipped Solana. You purposely skipped
them.
Yeah.
fuck coins is going nowhere, bro. Let's go. Screen. And I post this. I post these like every so often, and people like tag their favorite stock trader and be like, "What do you think about this?" They don't say shit. Of course
They
they
can't
don't.
say you can't say anything.
What,
What can you what can you say? What can you say to that?
yeah, what can you say to that?
You can't say anything you say to
I
that
didn't make up this
is
chart. I don't own
on
this
the clown.
website.
Right.
This ain't my website. Uh, dog.
OJ, you ready for another Europe trip or what?
Yeah, I was supposed to
We haven't kicked it in Europe yet, have we?
nah we had I remember that
We
one time you were there. I should have I think I was gonna come, but I had ended up canceling my flight. I was gonna go to
Yeah, you're gonna have to come do a Euro trip with me one of these times.
yeah, nah, I heard too many stories. I need to see what them stories is talking about.
Yeah, I need to
Oh,
show you my world out there.
we got a winner.
Who?
Solana. Wait, when was Solana launched? If it was 21,
2020,
they are going in Bitcoin.
2021, I think.
Yeah.
2020,
And
2021.
you want to know what's funny? This is actually me and OJ actually say this that if you aren't going to go Bitcoin, your best bet would be Solana, right? So, but I want you guys to think about this is now. Now, whether this continues to go, who knows? I'm rooting for Solana to do its thing, you but
But
this might be
you can even see that it's starting that sideways movement too. And it's kind of like if when a coin is first incepted, that's where most of its gains is gonna come from,
yeah,
so it's
it's fair.
going yeah, it's going from I don't know what its starting price was, like $2 a dollar to all the way to a couple hundred. And then I know like next 3 to 4 years is gonna look like the rest of these charts. So even in the
Yeah,
long term.
but hey, kudos to Solana because you know what we said at the beginning of this: if it ain't growing against Bitcoin, it ain't growing. Hey, and Solana's growing against Bitcoin, so I'll shut up. But ETH, L.
All right, let's go on to the next thing.
All right. So as you guys can tell, we tell you to stay away from these fuck coins because one, they're not growing, right? So we're giving you guys this advice from the perspective of I could understand the hate or I could understand the criticism if there's a bunch of things out there that are outgrowing Bitcoin and then we're sitting here saying, yeah, well, I know they're outgrowing Bitcoin, but just invest in Bitcoin because we gotta save the world, guys.
Yeah.
If y'all got on our ass for that corny shit, I will understand. Y'all feel me there? Y'all agree?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you.
Like if there's a bunch if we're saying I know Apple's outgrowing Bitcoin, but just put your money in Bitcoin, bro, because we can save the world. And y'all are like, bro, we ain't trying to save the world, we trying to run our bag up. I will understand. I will understand when people come in my comments and be like, not all crypto's a distraction. I'm trying to get the people paid, bro. I'm trying to get the people paid, and you're talking about fuck coin. Fuck coin is not growing against Bitcoin. And once you understand that, you'll stop listening to people. So the only thing that we have found that was growing against Bitcoin is Solana. Right now, there's another thing called like the blockchain trilemma, which is security, decentralization, and speed. Right, so you can prioritize two. Right, so Bitcoin prioritizes decentralization and security. This is why Bitcoin no hacks and decentralized. There's nobody in control. But that means that it's not as fast. There's only a block every 10 minutes. How many transactions can fit in that block? That depends. But there's only a block every 10 minutes. But if you had to kind of sacrifice in a way one of those three, it would have to be speed. Because if you go speed and decentralized, it's going to get hacked,
Hmm.
right?
And
And if you
speed is something that's already being handled and taken care of. We'll get into
Well,
on a
yes,
different. We'll get we'll talk about the different layers of Bitcoin.
exactly. So what people are saying when they go, well, they'll pick their metric and they'll claim that's why it's better than Bitcoin, but they ignore the other two factors of the trilemma, right? So they'll go, well, this blockchain Avalanche is faster than Bitcoin. Okay, is it decentralized? Okay, is it more secure? No, shut up. What are we talking about? Right? So that's what people do is they'll pick the one little aspect. Now, how this works and why it was set up this way is because the speed thing, if you have Bitcoin, the main chain here, you can go into the next layer and develop something that moves faster so you can process more transactions without giving up security or decentralization, right? So uh, that's another thing I want to throw in. All right, but what's up? Where
All
are we
right.
moving to next?
Let's keep moving. I think let's talk about where people want to know where can we buy Bitcoin, right? So we've given people tools for them to be able to go price things themselves, compare different assets, whatever it may be. We've covered Bitcoin, the asset, Bitcoin, the network, all that good stuff. Now we need to touch on, well, okay, where can I buy these sats? Where can I buy Bitcoin? Who's a trustworthy place? And then not only where can I buy it, but how can I safely store it?
All right. So you guys can go. Let's all go over where do we personally buy it? Start with OJ. Where do you
Okay.
personally buy Bitcoin?
Me personally, Swan and Strike, and I like these two custodians because they only have Bitcoin on there. I don't want to buy my Bitcoin from somewhere where they have Bitcoin, they have Solana, they have XRP, they have all these coins because those places where they sell all of these other coins, the fees are like extremely high. The spread is pretty high, but if you're going on with a custodian that only has Bitcoin on there, they can give you a better spread and fee. So I just choose Strike and Swan.
Okay. Strike, Swan. What you guys?
I'm 100% Strike. I rock with Jack Mallers, and even though Strike isn't the lowest with fees, Fold actually is. But I rock with Jack Mallers. I support his mission. I support his company. I support what he's about. He does a show, Mailbox Money, that he does that I follow, and I like what he does in the space, and they're pretty low, and they've allowed me to be 100% on a Bitcoin standard. So this whole year, I'm completely on a Bitcoin standard for my life. All my bills, I have my bill pay set up through Strike. All my money, everything gets converted directly into Bitcoin. So shout out to Strike and everything that they're doing. And for anyone, if you guys want to compare fees, Chris, you got your website up.
Yep.
Go to btcpricetool.com. So that way, for those of you out there that want to compare fees and things like that, you guys can get a good idea. It only
What's
has
the name of the
about
website?
it's
BTC.
btcpricetool.com, and it only has about 6 or 7 of the main exchanges on there, but it gives people a good idea. Depending on how much you purchase, it'll show the fees kind of change. So Fold right now, they don't have any fees. So Fold is a pretty good exchange to use. They have a card that you can use. You can easily convert over and spend, and you actually get sats back when you use Fold. They're really cool. I've used them quite a bit, and I've earned sats back by either paying bills through Fold or by spending using my Fold card. So the Fold card, I wish I had it on me. It's a Visa card. You can swipe it, you can use it out and about. For those of the people who are like, how am I going to be able to spend? Da, 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 da. There's a lot of companies now that give you access to Visa.
Banana with Bitcoin, bro.
Right, and you actually you can. So Fold is really cool. Strike is legit. Their fees are very low. If you dollar cost average, like we were talking about earlier, so if you send a set portion through Strike, they waive the fee for you. So I actually have a DCA through them, and then I also anytime I just get extra cash, I just convert it over right away. So on my DCA that I have with Strike, my fees are waived, and it's easy, and they also have ACH if you need to get to your bank account right away. So let's say you have Bitcoin sitting in your Strike account and you don't send it over to your hardware wallet or your cold storage or whatever, and let's say you need some funds really quick and you don't have a card or anything like that, with Strike, you can actually send directly to your bank account instantly. So you can sell your Bitcoin instantly. Once you have that cash converted, you can get it directly deposited into your account instantly to where you can just go pull it out of the ATM right away. So that's really cool. I've used Swan a little bit. Chris, I know you use Swan a little bit better. So, but yeah, those are the ones that I use.
All right, I actually like this list a lot. You got to screenshot this list right here because these are all apps, and then we'll throw in Robinhood and Kraken.
Hmm.
Cool. And that's the bit by bit vouch for list.
Yep.
Nothing else. We ain't vouch for nothing else. Don't be asking me about
Oh, yeah. So yeah,
nothing
these
else,
these
bro.
are these are all legit places, and for those of you out there, all these are KYC, which means know your customer. That means you're gonna have to provide
Your
your
name.
documentation. You're gonna have to provide your name. You're gonna have to probably provide driver's license. You're gonna have to provide social security number. This is part of it. You have to look at these exchanges the same as if you were to go with Fidelity for investing in the stock market, or for Vanguard, or whoever you use to invest in the stock market. You have to KYC. You have to give them your information for tax purposes, and they have to verify to make sure you are who you are. You have to do the same thing with all these companies, you guys. It's part of the process. There are ways for you to buy Bitcoin without having to go through these exchanges and KYC, but that's a whole different process, and maybe we'll touch on that in on future videos. Right now, we're just trying to give you guys the good basics and help lead you guys to these different, whether it be providers or whatever, for you guys to be able to use that are actually legit, so that way you guys don't have to worry about getting scammed, or giving your information over to someone who's not legit. So this list right here is as legit as it comes.
All right. So like we said, we're gonna throw Kraken on this list. Kraken spelled with a K.
Hmm.
And
Would you say
Robinhood.
Wood?
Yeah, Robinhood and Kraken. We'll throw that on that list.
Yep.
Boom. So y'all screenshot this, write this down, put this in y'all notes. So when people hop in the comments and they're like, "Hey, what are you? Okay, y'all talk about buying Bitcoin, but where?" All right, bro. Here it is, bro. And then another thing too is that I find to be annoying. Maybe y'all had the patience for. But when people go, but what's the absolute best? Like, bro, you might like something better for this reason than I like it for that other reason, right? So here you have six plus the two we gave you, eight different options. Go toy with them all,
Yep.
Yeah.
right? So don't,
Th-
oh, what's the bet? Okay, I hear you, but what's the bet? Bro, go try it.
Go try it. And like I said, if any of you guys are looking to go on a complete Bitcoin standard, Strike offers bill pay. They offer that now for all their customers. So definitely look into that. And also, something that I want to talk about is, once you guys get zero point zero 0.01 Bitcoin, good UTXO management, that's when you want to get it off of these exchanges, right? That's a good amount. And as of today, zero point zero 0.01 Bitcoin is about $1,000 or so. So once you have about $1,000 or so stacked up on whatever exchange you decide to use, that's when you want to go ahead and send it over to your hardware wallet, get it off of the exchange, because all the Bitcoin on the exchange is not your Bitcoin, right? It's not your Bitcoin until you get it off of the exchange onto your hardware wallet. And we'll talk about good hardware wallets and things like that.
Hey, OJ, listen to my song.
I'm dead.
Recording this. Another thing too, y'all. If we aren't suggesting it, please don't ask us about it because there's so many things out there. Like there's so many we can't possibly vouch for everything. So we're giving y'all our like official list. Like, all right, everything right here, I vouch for it. Plus Kraken, plus Robinhood, right?
All right.
On where to buy. Now, did you want to add something, Ace?
No, I was gonna say that transition us where to store. Is
Okay,
it time to get
watch you
okay?
get going. Now, where are you going to store it?
All right, I'm gonna send you this link. It's let me see, where can I send it at? I have this link, it's on bitcoin.org and it has, let me see, where's the wallets at?
Trying to touch a little too. Hey,
I don't know
Yeah,
why
we
I
need to
can't
get him
see
on the
that.
podcast, man.
pull back gunner.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Chris, I just sent you a link. Let me know if you got that link or not. I sent it in the chat. And that will bring up some of the best wallets out there.
Hey, bro.
Huh?
I ain't going to yap about that on here. I'll tell you. Keep yapping. Everything
Did you?
going up in price, man. People keep going up in price on the wrong things. They gonna get let go. Hey, y'all, in a free market, things are supposed to get cheaper, not more expensive, right?
Mhm.
So while I'm pulling this up, let's talk about that deep state versus chat GPT. The reason why the market sold off yesterday like it did is because investors are realizing that like, okay, if they created this AI engine for $5 million, but all these other tech companies that we're investing in America are spending 500 million or a billion or 10 billion, that the Chinese people have figured out a way to do it for a fraction of the cost, right?
Mhm.
But that's the exact way or route that things would go naturally. Naturally, things would get cheaper and better and faster, especially computers, right? So the world's first computer was huge, right? It was the size of a room. And now they have computers that are the size of my fingernail, right? So every 10 years, there's like 1,000x on computational power, and the size gets smaller, 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 faster and faster, faster, and cheaper to make. If you guys would like a good book about this, there's a book called Where the Money Is. It talks about that. That's a good book. And then The Price of Tomorrow, right? So if computers are getting faster, if they're getting cheaper to produce, and they're getting better, they should be cheaper for the consumer to buy it. The reason why it's not cheaper for the consumer to buy it is because we keep flooding the economy with more money.
Yeah.
So if we weren't flooding the economy with more money, the price of things would go down. Just the same way that I used that analogy earlier that if OJ was paying me 1 Bitcoin a year and Bitcoin's worth 100K, and then next year Bitcoin's worth 200K, he can cut my pay from 1 Bitcoin to half of a Bitcoin, right? And then when Bitcoin goes to a million, he can pay me a tenth of a Bitcoin, or maybe he pays me a little bit more than a tenth to give me a pay raise. But if you were measuring that price or my pay or my salary in Bitcoin terms, the pay is going down. But what I can buy with that same pay is going up, right? Or at very least staying the same. So in a free market, things should be getting less expensive. The reason why they're not is because we keep flooding the economy with more money. All right, let me send this to myself so I can get this website pulled up. So, with that being said, imagine if somebody creates this search engine and it's open source, and I take because it's open source, I can see how it's programmed, and then I take that and then add more data sets in there and make it even faster for a cheaper of a cost. It should be getting cheaper to make it.
Yeah.
If you guys create something and it's open source, I can see everything that's in there, and then I'll just take that. So, if it costs you $10 billion to create it, and I can copy everything in there, I just copied it for free.
Yeah.
right? I'm gonna need some space for the, to store the computers and, data centers, blah blah blah, all that stuff. But it's not about to take me 10 billion. All right.
The fact that so many things aren't open source is lets you know that all these companies, all these people are just so shady, dog. Like they're so these companies and stuff are just up to no good. Like
Yep.
learning about open source and learning about all these new companies that are starting to be open source and so these social media platforms like Nostr and all these other companies, man, it's like wow, transparency is key. Like if if it's not open source, it makes you wonder like what's really going on? Why are you guys
Yeah.
trying to hide? Why are you guys trying to hide things from everyone instead of just having it out there? All right. So here goes a list of hardware wallets, and this is coming straight from Bitcoin.org. This is a Satoshi website that was created by him and another guy. And so these are the legit recommendations. Out of this list, I personally have and have used the Bitbox, the Cold Card, the Jade, and the Ledger. I haven't used the Treasure. I haven't got a C signer yet. I don't know what the Cypher Rock X1. I haven't used that, but I can definitely vouch for the Cold Card and the Bitbox for sure. Ledger gets a lot of flack. They get a lot of flack. I haven't seen too many legit reasons as to why they do, but I've seen a lot of flack from Ledger. And they had an incident that happened a while back with some security issues. So I stayed
So,
away from them. But anyways, I like Cold Card. I personally believe Cold Card is one of the best hardware wallets you can get out there.
all right. So give me your top two, Cold Card and what's
My top two are Bitbox and Cold Card. So Bitbox is by a Swiss company, and I believe Cold Card is out of Canada, I believe. But they're both open source and they both Bitcoin only.
okay, cool. OJ, what you got?
I've heard about Cold Card and I wanted to try that one out, but I currently use Ledger Nano S. And I will say I like Ledger. The only thing that kind of be, and I'm not really into, I haven't really did a deep dive into how their update system works, but only thing I do not like about Ledger, I will say, is all these updates that they push through.
Yeah.
Because, with updates, pushing new updates is kind of a security risk. Because if you're
Because that's
constantly,
vaccines, bro.
you said what?
I said it's like pushing new vaccines.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you
Just
might
make sure
grab
you stay
somebody.
just stay off of Ledger Live and you should be straight.
Yeah. All right. So look. So I'll give you guys the warning with Ledger. So it's the Ledger Live and it's the password or the seed phrase manager. Do not you?
Yeah,
That's
this
something you opt into, right? So
hmm
standard, you just get a Ledger. You don't you don't opt into that. You're good. You don't opt into that. If you go to Ledger, wait, don't opt into them storing your seed phrase for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, here's one of the reasons. This is why they caught a lot of slack. Let's say the U.S. government subpoenas Ledger to give the government wants Ledger to give OJ's seed phrase up, right? They can if you opted into that seed
seed
phrase.
phrase.
Right now, just buying the ledger and using it normally, and you never opt into that, which most people don't. But if you never opt into that, nobody knows your seed phrase, right? So, ledger is decent in that case. Just don't opt into that seed phrase manager. Me personally, I like cold card the best, right? So the cold card, and then ledger's second. Oh, and treasure's third. So I'll go treasure, ledger, and cold card, right? So these are all called single signature wallets, right? So what that means is if I want to send some money from me to OJ on my ledger, right? I put in my PIN and I get OJ's address. I'm like, yo, bro, send me your address. He sends me his address. I copy and paste it into my ledger and I put in my PIN and it sends. When I put in my PIN, that's me signing one time, right? I signed it, it sent my Bitcoin to OJ. Or I signed it one time and it sent the Bitcoin to Ace, right? That's a single signature, right? If you have more than a few Bitcoin, I would say maybe more than like 4 or 5 Bitcoin, I would look into multi-sig. So multiple signatures. So imagine there's this vault, right? There's this treasure chest that has locks on the outside of it, and there's 5 locks total, right? You need 3 locks to open up to move your Bitcoin. So all these right here could be locks. So your treasure could be one of your locks, your ledger could be another lock, your cold card could be another lock, your phone could be another lock, and then whoever runs the multi-sig, they keep a lock for you, right? They keep one for you. So you can go Unchained or you can go Casa. So let's say you go Casa. Casa has one of the 5. Boom. So these other 4 are on you. Now, what that means is Casa can't move your Bitcoin without you because they only have one of the signatures and 3 of them are needed. So they only have one. So you can move your Bitcoin without Casa. Casa can't move their Bitcoin without you. Does that make sense? Right? So another thing too is let's say there's a bad actor at Unchained Capital, there's a bad actor at Casa, and somehow, some way they get this one. They can't do anything else because you need 3 signatures. Right. So I would say you look at this if you get more than like 4 or 5 Bitcoin, look into multi-sigs. Um, but yeah, these will do cold card. I'm vouching that's probably my number one option. Um,
Code card for
especially
sure.
yeah, cold card and then ledger, it's cool. Treasure, I vouch for treasure
And
too.
one thing that I want people to really understand, this is a very important thing, especially with the recent fires and stuff like that. So, whatever hardware wallet you guys decide to go with, right? We just told you guys, me and Chris both have Code Card up as our number one, but really, whichever one of these you decide to go with is going to be great, right? It really doesn't matter which hardware wallet you go with. The important thing is your seed phrase. Your seed phrase is what is more important because the hardware wallets will die, they'll malfunction, issues will happen with them, whatever, that's fine. Your seed phrase that you have that you're using, whether if you have multiple hardware wallets, and then you're going to have a whole bunch of, you're going to either do a 12 seed phrase words or you're going to do 24, right? So that's going to be the most important thing. They say not to write it down on a piece of paper. Don't write your seed phrase in your phone. Don't take a picture of it. It's recommended to get these steel plates, and I wish I had one to show right now, but I do have one. So they say it's recommended to get these steel plates and secure them as best you can, whether it be you bury it, whether it be you hide it somewhere good, whether you put it in a safe, whatever the case may be. Your seed phrase is the most important part of all of this, right? And so, with the recent fires in California, with people's houses burning down, there was a story of a guy who said that he had his seed phrase written down and he had it spread out all throughout his house, and his house burned down, and he lost complete access to everything. So this is why you guys don't. This is why you want to make sure you want to have something that's fire resistant. You want to have a safe that's fireproof, fire resistant. You want to have those steel plates. They have either a steel plate that you can get to put your seed phrase on, or they have these steel little coins that you can stamp them on. That's one of the best practices as far as storing your seed phrase. Do not write it down on a piece of paper. Do not put it in your phone. Do not put it on your computer. And if you do decide to share your seed phrase with someone, it better be someone you trust with your life and your finances. Okay.
Okay. What I'll add to that is I'll say this. When it comes to taking self-custody, it's a responsibility, right? This is a responsibility for your wealth. Not everyone's going to be up to that responsibility, right? Not everybody is going to want to go this far. So, as much as it hurts for me to say this, if you are going to, or you think you're going to half-ass it, right? It's too much to go get one of those steel plates. It's too much to try to memorize 12 words. If you are going to half-ass it, I recommend you don't half-ass it and just keep it with Coinbase, right? And the reason I say that is because what ends up happening is if you don't feel the need to take the responsibility, you try to take shortcuts. And what shortcuts look like is you take a picture of your seed phrase and then you keep it on your iCloud. And then your iCloud gets hacked and all your money's gone, right? If you aren't going to be very diligent about storing your wealth yourself, keeping it yourself, I'm not even opposed to just keeping that shit in Robinhood or keeping it in
I
Coinbase.
am. I am. Y'all better not keep your money
Yeah,
in them exchanges,
no,
man.
but I realize that some people are just fucking lazy, right? And
Yeah.
now, let me tell you, the reason why I even came to this conclusion, because the first 3 episodes I would have never said this, but one of the reasons that led me to this conclusion is that scammers are very, very, very persistent and they're smart. Someone got their wallet drained from downloading some bullshit ass streaming site, right? So they went to like a meth stream, like one of those streaming. It was a Korean one. It was a meth stream, but they went and they hit download. It down what the malware did is it downloaded to the computer and scanned all their photos looking for 12 words.
Mm.
Found the 12 words, drained them, right? So I'm like, if you're gonna be a lazy ass motherfucker, rock with Coinbase, right? This shit is serious, bro. That's all I'm trying
Yeah.
to say. This shit is serious.
Yeah, yeah, it's your wealth.
So
You got to take responsibility.
yeah,
Like you,
yeah,
you go do whatever it is you go do for 8 to 10 hours a day to get paid for your time. And then if you choose to take the lazy route when it comes to this, if you just want to trust these exchanges, go look and see what happened with what was those exchanges that blew up back in the day?
yeah, all that shit.
What was it?
Yeah,
FTX was one of them.
Well,
no, not FTX. It was the one that was over there overseas in Japan
Mount
when they
Gox.
just got there you go, Mount Gox
Yeah.
and exchanges will come and go and a lot of things can happen. Governments can strong arm these exchanges and take over, the assets that
yeah,
they
you know
have.
what? You're right. Fuck, hey,
You,
fuck y'all. Don't be lazy.
yeah, you know what I'm
Tripping,
saying?
man.
You don't you yeah, you tripping. That's all
Yeah,
right.
I'm not the
That's
man
why
up.
I'm here. That's why I'm here. I got you. Don't worry. Hey,
I'm starting to feel bad
hey,
for people like, yeah, take the,
Real,
nah, you're right, bro.
real
Oh,
ones slip up sometimes too. It's all
yeah.
good. I got you. But
It's
look,
12 words, nigga.
yeah, it's 12 words. If you can't be hold
Man,
on, yeah, you are tripping. It's all
that
good.
nigga on my ass, bro.
Huh? I got you, bro. It's all
Hey,
good.
hey,
Hey,
my dog. Say my face, man.
man, listen, you guys.
That
Hey,
nigga ain't fraud,
Not,
y'all.
at first, I'm
yeah,
like that
this,
do make sense. Like, okay, you not gonna if you go half-ass it, store
bro.
it, but now I see what you mean for sure, Ace. Yeah.
Nah, even
Yeah,
if you
don't
got, even if,
half-ass it. Yeah.
yeah, you
Explain it.
can't half-ass it. This is your life we're talking about. This is what you're spending your time and your energy towards. So it's like
Right.
if you're gonna go away from your family, your friends, the things you love for 8 to 10 hours a day, and then you
Yeah.
telling me you can't figure out how to properly store 12 to 24 words to secure your financial,
Yeah.
future,
If you
that's
want to
on
have,
you.
yeah, if you want
If
to
you want to have,
half-ass it, put your money X
yeah.
on people.
It's like, look, we're taking our time. We're doing the trials and tribulations. We're giving you guys the blueprint. So it's like, man, if you don't want to go and dig a little bit deeper and go a little bit harder for yourself, then you deserve to lose your funds. You deserve, you know what I'm saying, for that to happen because if you decide to half-ass it, take some shortcuts, I'm gonna just put it in my phone. My phone won't get hacked. I'm gonna just take a picture. My pictures ain't gonna get hacked. I'm gonna just write down a piece of paper. My house ain't gonna burn down. I'm not near no fire zone. Yeah, all right, until it happens, right? Everyone got a solution for things until things happen. But hey, take the time. Take the time. Like I said, once you get point zero 0.01 proper UTXO management, which we'll cover in another class, you want to accumulate that's about $1,000 or so. Once you accumulate that amount on whatever exchange you use, find one of these hardware wallets, send it over. Before you send over the full amount, send over a little bit. Send over about $5 just to make sure you have the right address, just to make sure you got everything figured out, and then go ahead and do that. And then whoever you have in your family, your friends, or whoever, or buy another hardware wallet and figure out how to be able to send between two hardware wallets. These
Hey,
are
figure
things
that
that you
shit out.
need to take. You got to figure it out. Everything is figure outable. A lot of this stuff might seem complicated. A lot of it might sound a little confusing. It might be a little bit outside of your comfort zone, but you know what? The current system that we're in, they want to keep you in that. And
Wait,
if they can
hold on,
keep you,
hold on. Press pause. Hold on, because all right, I was thinking about something. It ain't
what?
confusing. Because, bro, think about this. If you get a cold card and you go to set it up, like, that's
It's
a
step by
million
step.
times easier. That's easier than setting up your iPhone.
Yeah, 100
It's
times
easier
easier.
than driving a car.
Yeah. A
Like,
lot
if
of
you
these are plug and go anyways.
yes, I want it to be in English. Yes, here's my email. Yes, Bro, you could set this shit up, bro.
It's all
Yeah,
figure outable.
yeah. I
So
had
yeah,
a
that's my spill on that.
All right. Lastly, all right. So, quick little recap. We vouch for Cold Card. We vouch for
Hmm.
Treasure, and then we'll keep Ledger third place,
Yeah.
right? Where to buy your Bitcoin?
Hmm.
We got
Strike. You got Strike.
we got
You got
Fold, Strike.
Fold,
This. Let me share this one more
Fold,
time for you.
Strike, Swan, Cash App, Coinbase, River, Kraken, and then I forgot who the other one you recommended.
Robin Hood, I think was your
Yeah,
one.
Robinhood.
Robinhood.
Yep.
Robinhood. There we go.
All right. Here
Fold,
we go.
Strike, Swan, Cash App, Coinbase, River,
Y'all screenshot this.
Kraken, and Robinhood.
All right. So you buy it here, you send it to
Your
your
hardware wallet, your
hardware wallet.
Bitbox, your Cold Card, your Jade, your Ledger, your Treasure, whatever you prefer. It don't matter. Just get it, stack the sats, get them sats over to your hardware wallet, and enjoy your day. It's literally that simple. It's
Now,
literally that simple.
now let's talk about the Bitcoin halving. This will be the last segment.
All right, I'm gonna
So
send you
let's go
another
Bitcoin
link.
halving. All right. So can you explain the halving for folks? I mean,
Yeah.
explain the halving
All right.
and how that and then yeah, explain the halving right back.
Okay, so the Bitcoin halving is something that happens every 4 years. So our last Bitcoin halving happened in April of last year. And so what happens in the halving is the Bitcoin reward. So the last episode, how we were talking about how every time there's a block that's mined, there's a reward for that block. We showed you guys how the blocks look with the mempool space and all that, and then we went into the fees. So every 4 year, the halving fees get cut into half. So right now, the reward is 3.125 Bitcoin or something like that, and then
Yeah.
whatever fees are in each block. So in 4 years from now, so our next the next halving is supposed to happen, I believe, in what 2028 around April or May timeframe of 2028. That 3.125 Bitcoin reward is going to get cut in half. So now it's going to drop down to like whatever half of 3.125 is, 1 point whatever. And then every 4 years, that number gets cut in half every 4 years. So that means the reward is getting cut every 4 years. So right now we're in what they call it epochs. So we're in the fifth epoch. What we're heading into the fifth epoch in the next halving. So just to give you guys some numbers and to look and see what the price has done after each halving. So in 2012, the day of the halving, the Bitcoin price was at $12. 100 days after, it went to $44. 150 days after that, it went to 128. And then 300 days after that, it went to 135. So the day of the halving in 2012, the price was at $12. And about almost a year after that, it shot up to $135. In 2016, when the halving happened, the price was at $658. And then about 300 days after that, it shot up to $1,551. In 2020, when the halving happened, the price was $8,601, and about a year after that, price shot up to $50,941. So as we can see, after the halvings happen, that's when we tend to have our bull run. So that's all the previous halvings. That's how it's happened. And right now we're at what? We're almost at a year. We're almost at that year mark from
Yeah,
when the last halving. I don't know what the price was.
I
Let me
think it was
see
like
what the price
62,000 or something. Might I
for
think it
the
was in the
for
six
the last halving
in 20.
in
Are you talking about
April.
in April? Yeah, I think it was like
Yeah, in April.
62, 63,000. I think it was
Yeah,
around
and
that.
so and we're currently at 100. We're at almost a year later, and we're almost double from that. So I don't know. Could you hear what I was saying, Chris?
And
Yep.
even I
Yep.
remember Chris, you sent me this text explaining like the halving and like the miners, they're the ones selling on a daily basis, and since that,
they have to recoup.
yeah,
Yeah, so that's what happens. So those miners that we talked about that are fighting to get that reward, what it's at right now, it's costing them. It's not, they're not able to just mine for free. So when they do solve a block and they get that reward, they have to recoup whatever it costs, whatever electricity output or however they're mining, they have to pay those fees that they have. And so that's why a lot of times we'll see a good dip after the halving. So the halving will happen. We'll see a nice little dip in price, and that's just due to the miners. They're getting paid in Bitcoin, so they have to sell their Bitcoin in order to go pay whatever it is that they got to pay for. So that's why we see that small little dip, and then that's when we start to see things rip up because the Bitcoin being put into circulation is getting cut into half every single 4 years. So in April of last year, the reward was a little more than 6 Bitcoin. Now we're at 3.125. In 2028, that's going to get cut in half. In 2032, it's going to get cut in half. In 2036, that's going to get cut in half. So how much Bitcoin is being produced is slowly getting cut in half every 4 years. So that's a good part of what the Bitcoin halving is.
OJ, search your text message and search natural sellers, and my message should pop up. I'm going to explain to you guys what I sent to OJ because I was trying to paint this picture for him
I think
so
I
he can
had
understand.
even posted it. If I can't find it, I'll go to my it's natural.
Here, Chris,
So,
I'm gonna send you this website. I went through the numbers, but I'm a visual person. I want the people to see visually. I just sent you a link that has the halvings from 2012, 2016, and 2020 to show what the price was that day and the percentage of returns 100, 200, and 300 days after the halving.
All right, now
Let me
okay,
know
y'all
when you get
check that.
that.
I found the text. Do you want me to read it
All right,
or
read out loud.
okay, so it says you texted me, you said, "Do you know who sells Bitcoin every single day?" I said, "Who?" You said Bitcoin miners, they have to pay hella money to mine the Bitcoin and then they make their money back by selling the Bitcoin they mine. Some of them are profitable so they can stash some Bitcoin away, but think about it. Think about it like this. The Bitcoin is going to half, which means how many new Bitcoin every day is going to fall in half, which means the amount of daily selling is going to fall in half too from the miners, and that's why the price runs like crazy after the halving. If you have the same demand plus half the selling, the price goes up. And then you were saying this time is different because now we have, the ETFs. There's way more demand on a day to day than ever before, and the selling is gonna fall in half. We're gonna run up fast as fuck. And this was you sent this in March.
What was the price on that day that I sent it?
Let's see. It had to have been because this was before the ETFs even launched, I think. Let's see, March 26th. Okay, let me
So
This is
see.
what,
what
March
I'm
18th.
explaining to him is just what he said that every day Bitcoin miners, whoever's winning those blocks, they're selling the Bitcoin onto the market, right? So every day you have a natural seller show up, sell, 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 and then we, the people, plus all the institutions, plus all the corporations, organizations, governments, all that stuff, they're buying. So we need more buying pressure than selling pressure to keep the price up, right? So we have to buy more than what they're selling.
And
That's
the
how the
price
price
was
goes up.
60,000. Uh,
Okay.
yeah.
And another thing on top of that, the Bitcoin that is on exchanges for sale right now is at an all-time low. So not only not only as time goes on, less Bitcoin get put into the ecosystem, but also the Bitcoin that was on the exchanges is also at an all-time low because so many people are buying up everyday individuals, the ETFs have to constantly buy, and now that the banking institutions are just got approved, they're going to be able to start buying. So it's like number is going to keep going up because as demand keeps going up, the supply keeps going down. It keeps going down. Every 4 years, the supply goes down, and every 4 years, the demand keeps going up because more people are adopting. So even though we keep talking about these big institutions, there's still a lot of people around the world who still haven't even adopted. So
Yep.
it's still, we still have individuals that are adopting, and then we still have nation states, we still have countries, we still have, we got 50 states that still have to adopt it. Arizona was just the first state. They just adopt Bitcoin as a strategic reserve. They're the first state to do it. They are allowed 10% to allocate to funds and all that good stuff. So it's a domino effect that's slowly happening before our eyes. So when people keep saying we're still early, we're still early. We are still early in a sense, but it's like the train is starting to build momentum, and it's like those times of hearing people say we're still early is that train is slowly starting to fade
Yeah.
away. Like those days of hearing people say we're still early, like once we cross about 150, 200,000, you're not early anymore. Like that train, that early train is going. You know what I'm saying? Like it's gonna get crazy. Like this number is gonna go up. And it's like the thing is people they have the chance to adopt this system now. People have always had the chance to adopt the system, and it's like you get Bitcoin at the price you knowledge. You know what I'm saying? It's like you truly do. It's like the more time you put into this and you figure it out, and it's like once you go down the hole, the light comes on, and you're like, oh, there it doesn't make sense. Nothing else makes sense, and it's like if it's not rising against Bitcoin, it's not rising.
Yep.
Did you
All right.
did you get
So,
that website I sent you?
yep, I'm gonna pull that up next. All right. So
All right,
look, every 4 years, the selling pressure falls from the natural sellers, right? But what I told OJ is like, hey, this time is gonna be a little different because now we have more buyers,
way
right?
more
Now we
buyers.
moved away from me and the homies supporting or buying Bitcoin and sending the price up. Now it's institutions. So look, all these ETFs, whenever let's say you were to go through like wherever you buy your normal stocks from and you buy into a Bitcoin ETF, they have to then in turn and buy the same amount of Bitcoin. So however much all their customers have, they have to have the actual Bitcoin to represent that, right? So they need to buy every day. So if you were to look, here are all the different ETFs here, right? And then here are the dates just for January alone. And then here's the total inflows, right? So how much they're buying, how much they're selling. So there have been a few red days where they sold more than they bought, but for the majority of the time, they're buying more than they're selling. They're buying more Bitcoin than what they're selling. And this is just in January. So think about this. Almost every single day, at least every day that the stock market itself is open, there are ETFs buying Bitcoin, buying Bitcoin, buying Bitcoin, buying Bitcoin, buying Bitcoin. And you have the miners that are selling the Bitcoin, selling the Bitcoin, selling the Bitcoin. But how many Bitcoin do they have to sell? Falls in half. That's why we get this large run up. So let's go to this other website that Ace just sent.
And it's
Oh, this,
crazy because we're already at a little over 1 million in Bitcoin holdings across the ETFs, which is insane. Like the numbers are just
Isn't
crazy
this
for the
the isn't this the best performing ETF ever?
no, no, no. What the Bitcoin ETF? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, yep.
so here we go. We got halving day. The price is well, hold on, man.
Yeah, just between those two charts right there. There you go. Yep.
All right, so we got in 2012 halving day price $12. 100 days after $44. 150 days after 128. That's a 10x. 250 days after 107. 300 days after 135. So we had a 10x within 150 days, right? All right, so then we have July of 2016. 658 dollars on the halving day, 100 days after, 150 days after, 250 days after, right? 300 days after. All right, I know what this is missing. This is missing the 18 months after because 300 days is still within 1 year, but I'll explain that after. All right, halving day. We have $8,600, 100 days after 11,000, 150 days after 10,000, 250 days after 300, 36,000, and 300 days after 50,000. All right. So based on my research, Bitcoin hits its all-time high about 15 to 18 months after the halving. So that's a year and some change. And I'm going to show you guys this. All right. So let's share this. Let's go US dollars. All right. So that first halving, November 28th, 2012, right? November 28th, 2012. This doesn't even go back there. All right. So let's go to the next one, which
July
is,
9th, 2016.
all right, July 9th, 2016. All right. We got $647, $650, right?
Yep.
So 18 months after this, right? So that run up from 2016 July, this
So
run
like
up right,
January. So it'd be like January.
right? All right, this was the peak. So this is what from July to July is 12, and then from July to December is 6, right? So we have December, we hit $19,000, right? We went from $600 to $19,000, right? Okay, the next halving,
May
was
11th, 2020.
May 11, 2020.
About 8,600.
All right. And then we have
So like September.
boom. Here is November would be from May to May is 12, June, July, August, September, October, November. 7 more months, right? So we're looking at like what's still within 2 years, right? We go from $9,000, $10,000 to $64,000, right? And now this last halving, which was what, April?
April. Yep. About April 2024.
All right. And then we have like a $64,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would expect the market to top out around like September to November of later this year, right? So getting to 200,000 would be kind of, like a layup in
In the
my,
ballpark. Mm-hmm.
it would
Yeah.
be in the ball. So what I would say is if we get 190,000, if we end this year with at least 180, $190,000, that was a layup,
Yeah.
right? So we're talking about nearly doubling your money from here, from this day, like from today, you can double your money, nearly double your money. So that halving usually pops. Okay, and another thing too is when I was buying Bitcoin in 2022, when I was going hard, when it was under 20,000, I was aware of the halving coming, right? So I'm buying from August. Let's look at this. I'm buying from August 2022, from like June, this whole thing from about June to December, right? Where I was really, really going hard in 2022. But I knew, like, hey, we got 15 months until the halving. Let me buy as much as possible, right? So what ends up happening is I'm buying this whole little sell off here. And then when we get to the halving, we're up here, right? So I'm buying all this, and then the halving is here. So we're not even talking about the return after the halving. The return after the halving is going to be up here like 200,000, right? Just from the sell off to the halving, you tripled your money, right? So I want you guys to start thinking, or to start at least like training your mind to think about the opportunity and work backwards. Because if I buy something and I say in 2 years it's going to be the halving, 15 to 18 months after that we're going to see the run up. So I'm anticipating November of 2025 in the summer of 2022. Now, That may seem like a long time to some of y'all, right? But think about this. Whether I was accumulating Bitcoin, learning and studying about Bitcoin back then, waiting like, hey, I'm buying this now, and I know the big return isn't coming for 3 years. Whether I took care of business or not, that 3 years is going to pass, right? Whether y'all choose to watch this stuff, take notes, read books, do all this, the time's going to pass, right? So that's why we're like telling people, like, yo, like, this is the most important thing you can put your eyes on right now,
Yep.
because eventually we're going to get to $1 million Bitcoin. And when we get to $1 million Bitcoin, you're going to be like, I'm so glad I bought it at 100,000. I'm so glad I bought it at $105,000. Right now, whether you do buy or don't buy, the time's going to pass regardless, and Bitcoin's going to 1 million regardless. So the time's going to pass, right? For y'all who are like, let's say OJ's age, you're going to be 30 years old one day. You want to be 30 with some money in your pocket, or you like what type of 30-year-old you want to be, right? You're not going to be 23 forever. You're not going to be 21 forever. You're not going to be 25 forever, right? And I used to think like that when I was younger. I'm like, shit, when I touch 30, I'm trying to have a few cribs, few cars. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to be
Yep.
30 and broke. Everything is about backwards planning. You see yourself in the future and work backwards.
Mhm.
So I'm seeing $1 million Bitcoin, shit, buying at 105,000 is a discount.
Yeah.
But if I'm stuck in the past, then I'm saying, man, I ain't buying 105 because I remember seeing it at 50. I remember buying it at 20. Bro, I don't care about what happened in the past. I'm looking to the future, which is the $1 million Bitcoin, even if you were to say the $500,000 Bitcoin, and I backwards plan from there.
Yeah.
So any dollar I put in right now will be times five by the time 500K comes. So who wouldn't, y'all watching this, who wouldn't trade $1,000 for $5,000?
Yeah.
Who wouldn't trade $10,000 for 50 bands? Right? Or if you're looking towards the $1 million Bitcoin, who wouldn't trade $1,000 for $100? And all you got to do is wait. You make the trade and wait, and the market will take care of itself. All you got to do is not panic sell. This shit is simple, bro. Just read a book.
Read a book.
But yeah. So what y'all got? Let's close this up. Did we
Let's
miss
close it up.
anything?
Nah, we hit all cylinders that we needed
Yep.
to. We hit all cylinders.
All right. So let's go. Closing statements. Y'all got anything to say?
What you got, OJ?
What you got over there?
Lead them bullshit coins alone. That's what I'm gonna say every time. Lead them shit coins alone. Leave that Trump coin. Don't get fooled. Don't and even I don't know if y'all seen. I know y'all know Fred Krueger dropping the meme coins too. Like don't get try to get sidelined by seeing what other people. Don't get sidelined from what other people are doing and try to fall on the hype because Bitcoin price is moving sideways. You see people doing all these random things. Just focus on one thing. Then
Hey, allegedly that dude had a nine-figure exit in some of the companies he built, allegedly, right? And then when you watch people, when you watch people who you think or you assume they got bread, and then they go ruin their reputation over $40,000. He said he made
yeah,
40,000. He made anywhere from 40,000 to 300,000, and you're like, you just
mhm,
ruined your reputation over 30 bands, 40 bands. I don't think you got.
exactly.
I don't think you had all that bread you said you had, man. Like me and Ace say this all the time, man, because I've seen this in a documentary before. But the saying goes, do you want to make as much money as you can in the next 12 months, or do you want to be around 20 years from now? And if you choose that I want to be around 20 years from now, right, then it's easy to ignore a little dumb shit.
Yep.
Like, OJ, me and you was just talking about this. Like, I could have been selling people $10,000 memberships, all types of goofy shit people was doing. And I'm
Hmm.
like, bro, I'm gonna get my money out the market. Y'all can have these courses for $50.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, you know what's about they free. I'm gonna do what I say I do. I'm gonna get my money that way, and I think that alone stops people from even trying to adopt the Bitcoin standard because, like how we was talking about, if I'm trading and I'm a trader and I one make money trading and two I make money because I have a community or something, and I'm telling people, hey, just buy Bitcoin. Hey, just buy Bitcoin. My fear and my like me operating from this place of lack, I'm gonna think like, oh man, they're not gonna join my stuff anymore because I'm just telling them to buy Bitcoin. Like, hey, bro, do the right thing. You know what I mean? And the right thing is to lead people to Bitcoin. And if you aren't leading people to Bitcoin, you're misleading people because we proved it with the charts. Leading somebody to Apple is misleading them from Bitcoin.
Mhm.
Leading somebody to the S&P 500 is not sending them to Bitcoin. That's misleading them.
Yep.
It might not be like with malice. It might not be with bad intentions unless you already know the information. If you know the information and you still choose to lead them there, you're a flawless person. But once you see, you can't unsee. And once you know, you can't unknow. The stock market is not growing. All it's doing is absorbing new money, right? So it goes up as far as the number. It went from $100, $100 spy went from $100 to $600, but you could buy the same stuff. So
Yep.
the number's getting bigger, but you aren't getting any wealthier. And that's the name of the game is you want purchasing power, not, nominal growth. So what you got? Close it up, Ace.
What I got, man, I just want to say, man, first of all, man, I'm proud of you guys. Seriously, I'm proud of you, Chris. I'm proud of you, OJ. And everyone out there, I'm proud of the Well Squad members, man. I love being in the Bitcoin chat and seeing everyone taking the time, watching the podcast, reading the books, putting in the work, asking the questions, trying to figure this out. Because this is a nasty game that we got to play that we were forced into. And it's like you either gonna continue to stay in the system and stay on that wheel and constantly giving up your time and your freedom for the weekend, or it's like you're gonna sit your ass down, take some time, pick up a book, watch a YouTube video, and start putting away for your future because your future is gonna come regardless of what you do today, right? If you decide to fuck around and do whatever it is you do and constantly keep blowing your money on the same things, you're just gonna end up in the same position and you're just gonna be like, man, I should have did this. You're like, man, I remember watching this podcast and these dudes talking about Bitcoin when it was at 100,000. Now here we are at a $500,000 Bitcoin in the future. And it's like, if I would have just put a little bit away, it would have added up. It's like we showed you guys what the power of, even if it's just $25, even if you got $50, whatever your case is, you have to figure out that set amount and you have to put that aside to Bitcoin. You have to say, hey, this all my bills, my lifestyle, whatever I like to do for fun, whatever, that's all handled and taken care of. This is what I have left over to put in Bitcoin for my future. Put that in there and you cannot touch it. You need to put it in there and wait a minimum of 4 years before you even consider doing anything to it. And just keep slowly stacking on it. That compound effect, man, I'm telling you, that compound effect is something crazy and people need to give themselves time. It's not going to happen overnight, right? If you haven't been stacking over time and you're just now about to get your feet wet, so what? Who cares what everyone else before you? There's people that got in at $5 and $10 Bitcoin and they're still holding right now, right? You can't look down on them like, well, whatever the excuse may be, I wasn't old enough at the time. I wasn't able to at the time, right? But you're able to now. You're old enough to now. So it's like you gotta you gotta plant that seed now so you can give yourself a chance to grow. It's like you can never climb up the ladder if you don't get on the ladder, right? You
Yep.
got to get on this ladder and start climbing your way up. And you get on the ladder by reading books. You get on the ladder by doing the research, putting in the time. You start climbing the ladder by dedicating a certain amount. And you keep climbing to the top of the ladder by being disciplined, by not pulling it out because this emergency happened or because you want to go do this or this new thing came out. So you're going to pull a little bit here. You're going to pull a little bit there. Every time you pull from that stack, you're pulling from your future self, right? So it's like get on that ladder, climb that ladder, and just keep climbing. Just keep climbing. There is no top, right? You just got to keep climbing, keep stacking, and keep going. And then it's like you'll look back and be like, man, it was the best decision I ever made in my whole life. Now you can focus more on the things that you love and enjoy doing. It's like you don't have to worry about going to sit 2 hours in traffic to go to a job you hate that you can't stand. You don't have to worry about going in the bathroom just to get a little bit of extra sleep because you're trying to do whatever. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, hey, we don't.
Hey, we
When
used
the
to start on lunch break and go in the bathroom stall and then go to sleep.
and go to sleep. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
That shit.
yeah, take this serious. This is like Chris said, this is the most important thing that you can't ignore. You can't ignore it. And it's like take the time. We're giving you guys the tools and and everything that you need to be able to go figure this stuff out yourself. You don't have to just take our word. Go look at this stuff, go compare it, go pick up a book, go do these things. It's like They got libraries. A lot of these books are free. There's a lot of free resources like hope.org. There's a lot of free tools and stuff for people out there to be able to do what they need to do so they can get to where they're trying to get. That's all I got.
Oh, all right. So I was gonna say one thing. So you're talking about like compounding and exponential growth. All right. So I want y'all to think about something. We might have 300% returns in a row, right? 300% return. So in 2023, we had a 100% return. 2024, we had a 100% return. This might be the third straight one, right? What $10,000 looks like after 300% returns in a row is $80,000, right? It's not times three, right? If you think it's times three, because 100% times three, you think that, oh, maybe I got 30,000 or 40,000, right? No, bro, it grows exponentially, right? So if your 10,000 doubles, now you have 20,000. Your 20,000 doubles, now you have 40,000. Your 40,000 doubles, now you have 80,000. In just 3 years, every $10,000 unit that you put in there is now worth $80,000, right? So imagine if you did that, you put in 10,000 four times for the year, right? So every dollar that I buy Bitcoin with, I think this is going to be worth exponentially more. It's going to grow forever. That's why your $50 purchase matters.
Mhm.
That's why your $100 purchase matters. Because when you bought $50 one time, 10 years later, that's worth 6 grand. Then you put 100 a few months later, that's worth 12,000. Every little buy compounds and grows forever, right? And no work involved. You press buy
Mhm.
and you don't sell. The hardest thing to do is not sell. You press buy and you don't sell. And another thing is you don't get distracted by fuck coins. We have an entire ecosystem that's basically rigged to prop Bitcoin up, right? Because the monetary supply has to expand, right? I hope you guys learned that from everything that we told you to read in all our episodes. The monetary supply has to expand, right? So if the U.S. government was a household income, right? If I make $100,000 a year and I owe $500,000 in debt, every year I got to pay 7,000 just in interest. But I only make 100 grand. I owe 500,000. I have to go borrow more money, right? And the more money they borrow, the more money goes in the ecosystem. And that money that goes into the ecosystem finds its way into Bitcoin. So my analogy is like a water faucet. You turn the water faucet on, and the water faucet stays on. The water faucet is the monetary supply growing. Bitcoin is putting a balloon under that monetary supply. I mean that water faucet, right? You put a balloon under that water faucet, you're not going to go make more balloons, but the balloon's going to grow forever, right? So Bitcoin is propped to keep growing, right? Now, all you have to do is buy Bitcoin. And what's going to throw you off track and what's going to get you chipped is the people selling you bullshit.
Mhm.
So you know how like Michael Saylor says like, all right, you're buying basically like Cyber Manhattan, right? So imagine this, bro. Imagine if you're buying Cyber Manhattan, right? And you're like one of the first people to settle in New York, and you're buying land that your great grandchildren will be able to profit off of and have skyscrapers there. Now imagine somebody's on like the side of the street while everyone's trying to buy buildings. Someone's on the side of the street saying, "Hey, let's see, let's race dogs. Let's gamble on which dogs are the fastest." And we're trying to tell you like, "Hey, you need to be buying this real estate." And they're like, no, no, come over here, man. What the fuck are they talking about? Come over here. Which dog do you think is gonna? They're setting up bullshit games on the side because they need the money to go buy Manhattan,
The land. Mhm.
right? That's what they're doing. That's what crypto developers are doing. They're creating
Mhm.
fuck coins that they know are going to go to zero, but they're
And
going
they're
to get the
buying
money from
Bitcoin.
fees, and they're going to
Mhm.
get the money from the launch, and they're going to go buy Bitcoin.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So what we're telling y'all buy Cyber Manhattan, and they're telling you, hey, pick which dog is the fastest. And when you lose your bet, they go buy Cyber Manhattan. You have to be smart enough to know when you're getting finessed. That's all I got. So if y'all made it through this whole thing, man, 2 hours and 20 minutes, what they gonna put in the chat, OJ?
Bitcoin only. That's all I need to hear.
All right, Bitcoin only, y'all.
Um,
If y'all watch If y'all watch this whole thing, Bitcoin only, man. And remember, if it's not growing against Bitcoin, it's not growing. So this is Bit by Bit, episode number 4. If you ain't subscribed already, go subscribe. Go watch all our videos. Follow us on social media. I'm Chris, Ace, OJ. We out, y'all. Bitcoin only in the chat if you made it through.
Yeah, I'm about to go pick up some money. That's it.
That's